All right, that South Loop downtown is an absolute mess. We have crashes blocking both 40 east and westbound, right around Demumbrian and then again 65. Then about 42 miles west of downtown Nashville, the left lane of 40 westbound is still blocked by that overturned truck. That is a 29-minute delay. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Seven minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair here on this third day of October, Thursday. Beautiful day, really. I mean, 82 degrees. It's just finally some sunshine. Things are drying out just in time, right? Hey, listen, we got a lot to cover here today, but if you have high blood pressure, you might want to, sit down and take some deep cleansing breaths, because what I'm about to share with you is going to piss you off. And I don't like to use that word, but there's really no other word that is in my vocabulary that I can get past the FCC that will describe the anger that I feel today when I look at how our federal government under Joe Biden's guidance is failing the people who are in these flood zones. These people who have lost everything, who've been completely wiped out. Now, there are some things being said out there on the internet that I don't think are true, and you got to be careful. But what I'm going to bring you is verified, and what I'm going to bring you is stuff that will really make you angry. First of all, right now, Joe Biden, yesterday it was Kamala Harris. They're touring the damaged area. We just gave $8 billion with a B dollars just the other day, and that's on top of all the other billions of dollars we've given to Ukraine. We just gave them another $8 billion. But if you're in a flood zone right now, don't worry. The federal government's coming to your rescue. You may have lost everything. Your house may be gone. You may not have a car. You may be lucky to have your life. You're going to have to start over. But don't worry, because the federal government will cut you a check for $750. Good luck. You're getting very far with that at a time when you don't have anything. And you're living out of the back of your car, if you even have a car. FEMA just got $20 billion. And let me see if I can find this soundbite, Mayorkas. Yeah, he says, look, we got a lot of money, but if there's another storm, we don't have enough to cover it.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
They don't have enough to make it through the season. And part of the reason why is they gave a lot of money to create housing and to pay for housing for the illegal immigrants who've come to this country. Yeah, FEMA reallocated its money. I've got it here. In 2023, $364 million. In 2024 so far, $650 million. That comes to well over $1 million. I'm sorry, well over $1 billion that the FEMA people have poured into housing for people who are not even American citizens. Yet we don't have enough to take care of our own. We don't have enough. Now, look, I do understand that it takes a couple of days for TEMA and FEMA and all of these organizations to get up and running. And as far as I know, I'm not hearing the same complaints about TEMA here in Tennessee that I'm hearing about FEMA. But I want you to listen to Jonathan Howard. Now, one of the hallmarks of this program is that we let our sound run a bit, because I want you to hear what people are saying. There's nothing I hate more in radio than a 10-second soundbite. I want a good, juicy, long-running soundbite so you get a good sense of what's going on. And I have that in the form of Jonathan Howard. Jonathan Howard is a helicopter pilot. He has a position with the Florida National Guard, but he's also in the flood zone working with his personal helicopter, working with other private helicopter pilots. And his story, which you can go and look at it if you want to, it's on realclearpolitics.com. That's where I found it. His story is maddening about the lack of recovery efforts and the lack of the one thing that they need. I mean, we have a military that's just oozing with helicopters. Where are they?
My name's Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which is great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete shit on the news, and these politicians don't have a fucking clue, and they're lying. And I'll say this now, I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some like government helped with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too because she had 1 day left of oxygen. No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues. I have my entire team up here from Florida right now, and they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off. Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass, and she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that, but like, I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. Like, we'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military. There's no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind. And they're not even allowing people to see what's really going on. One of our friends yesterday, they were actually escorting CNN down at Lake Lure, and they wouldn't even let CNN, the sheriff department would not let them go videotape the bad areas, how destructive it is. I don't know why they don't want to show you all that, but I mean, it is bad. I should also say, when I flew here on Sunday, they actually stopped us from going in, the sheriff department. And it was because of a bunch of politics that they were claiming was the Speaker of the House of North Carolina that was preventing us from even going in and trying to kick us out, which I have clarified today with North Carolina politicians that reached out to me, good on them, and they were like, that's complete issue. Speaker of the House has nothing. He wants you guys there. But this is the kind of political BS that is happening here right now. Like, everyone's trying to be in charge without taking any type of action. Nobody wants to coordinate with anybody. Everybody wants to pretend like they're being the hero while these people are literally dying in the mountains. And these people, like I'm saying, these people are limited medication. they're running out of oxygen, and there's no one going to get them. The most effective way I have found to go find these people is by getting in a helicopter and flying down the rivers and roads and looking for SOS messages or people waving us down. And then we drop down and get them. We have all these people here. We have law enforcement, we have State Guard, National Guard. They have no way to go get these people. Yesterday, when I was at the Asheville airport refueling, we're in Asheville, and I saw 2 Air Force helicopter 60s. And I knew they were PJs just looking at them. And I went up to them, like, hey guys, like, what are y'all doing? And like, this is what you need to be doing. This is how I'm finding people. And they're like, we can't go. We're waiting on Title 10 orders. And I'm like, what?
Can you believe that? I mean, he's waiting. They've got the helicopters there. They can't fly them because they haven't got the proper damn paperwork. It gets worse.
They can't get any authority. There's military helicopters all over here sitting on the ground, and they can't do nothing. Even my JSOC boys in Fayetteville, they can't get orders to come out here. It is just the most disgusting thing, and they're killing these people. And I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what kind of conspiracy. I've heard so many things, whatever you want to come up with, but they are literally allowing these people to die in the mountains right now because we can't get helicopters. They got money for everything else in the world right now, but if they could just get us helicopters, we could fly out there and rescue these people. So I hope this video goes viral. I hope these politicians get fired. I hope people get pissed off. They'll probably kick me out of the state of North Carolina for doing this, but you know what? I don't care, because if I can save one more life for it, it's worth it to me.
Yeah, I believe this guy. I mean, I think he is incredibly frustrated by what he's seeing, which is apparently not much. If it weren't for the private sector going in, there wouldn't be anything going on. The federal government is letting people down in a huge way. By the way, you heard Matt Murphy talk about this other incident where a pilot was trying to go into an area, and this is a separate pilot that the story is out there, and he gets basically told. I'm trying to get to the point. He says he went in and got somebody out. He left his co-pilot on the mountain so he could bring somebody back. Right? He's got a small helicopter. And he brings him back, and then he gets accosted by the local fire authorities, the fire department authorities, who say, "What are you doing, and who are you?" And he said, "I'm just, trying to rescue people. I just rescued that guy over there." And he said, "Well, if you go back up there, we will arrest you." I mean, I didn't know that the fire department had that authority, but apparently that's what he said. He said, "Well, my co-pilot is on. I got to go back and get my co-pilot." And he said, if you go up there, you're going to be arrested. You don't have any authority to be here. Well, you know what? Screw authority. There are people in need. This guy, I mean, what kind of power trip was this jackass on? Boy, I tell you what, if I would have said, okay, fine. Well, you just have the cuffs ready because I'll be back in a minute with my co-pilot. And then we'll see how that works out for you, pal. Eventually, you know what happened? Some police officers said, hey, go get your guy. We'll keep this guy away from you, and then, get out of here. Go get your guy, and then go on. But they left hand, right hand. Nobody's in charge, but everybody wants to be in charge. And then you have these people who have a little bit of authority, who think that they should be making all of the decisions. And when things are happening that they're not in control of, they get angry. Well, then go do some work. Let the people who are there, the Cajun navies, let the pilots do their jobs. It's just maddening. It's just maddening. And what's maddening is we have a situation right now where they don't have the funding to help people. Well, what is happening? What are our priorities? We got money for Ukraine. We got money for illegal aliens. We got no money to help the people who truly need it in their time of, this is what you have a government for, to take care of people in times of disaster. And this is a disaster of biblical proportions. I'm telling you, this is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Katrina. It certainly is. And this is not going to go well for them. And unfortunately, it's not going very well for the people who need to be helped a great deal right now. 21 past the hour. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine, best known for their basic Smart Care plan, starts at just $69 a month. And what you get for that are free office visits and free basic labs and diagnostic tests for a whole year. Now, at Grace Point, you were usually seen the same day or the next day. No long wait times in the waiting room. Grace Point is your primary provider, treating the entire family from newborns to seniors. Now, fall allergy season is here. Don't suffer through another seasonal change. Get complete testing and treatment. Enjoy the beauty of fall this year. Grace Point is a military veteran-owned practice located in the heart of Franklin. 615-599-6868 to schedule your next medical appointment. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hurricane death toll rises. Florida's governor making a move to blunt the impact of the dock workers' strike. And a former Colorado court clerk accused of being an election denier tearfully pleads with a judge to avoid prison. Details at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 25 minutes past the hour. That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom, and Chris Weber is in the control room pushing all the blinky buttons. It's Weber, Weaver, and Wilson. We're going to be with you here all the way till 7 o'clock tonight. People are asking on the Member Nutrition Super Text line where that story and that soundbite can be found. His name is Jonathan Howard, and you can find the clip I found was on realclearpolitics.com. And it's just, I mean, it has the ring of truth. It has the ring of somebody who is in there seeing the overwhelming task at hand and frustrated that the resources of the federal government, we're now 6 days into this thing, have not yet arrived on the scene, and there are people who are in dire situations, even now. Just in one day, he rescued 2 people who might not be alive had it not been for their rescue. So, thank goodness we have the Cajun Navy. And thank goodness we have, people who are helicopter pilots with private helicopters who are willing to step up because the government is failing us. If I could just, I'm going to get all wound up again. But you can find that at realclearpolitics.com. I-40. In East Tennessee, we have a real problem here with I-40 because it's going to be a while getting it back. How long? I-40 between North Carolina and Tennessee could well remain closed until the fall of next year. This is according to an estimate made by the North Carolina Department of Transportation. They say that it'll be closed until October 10th of 2025. Maybe they'll be able to do it quicker than that, but that's their estimate now. As they have a huge undertaking there to rebuild this long stretch of highway that is completely wiped out. And it may be a while before Tennessee can get all of its bridges back up and going as well, but we don't have any official estimates on that. 8 migrant workers apparently arrested, according to the Tennessee Star in Tennessee, for looting in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Charged over the weekend for looting properties in Washington County, Tennessee. Washington County Sheriff's Office announced Sunday the group of 8 men were taken into custody the day prior after deputies were patrolling the region impacted by the hurricane and arrested the men for allegedly looting properties in the 107 area of Washington County. Again, all of these apparently are people who are here illegally. Here it is. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office has since confirmed to the New York Post that 8 men are in the U.S. legally on work permits. But they're among those who came into this country across the border initially illegally, but then legalized by the Biden administration. So there you have that. We add to the economic hit that many people in this country are going to take as a result of the hurricane. Add to that this dock workers strike, and you have the Biden administration could force them back to work, but have decided that they don't want to do that, and the main reason is Pennsylvania, Michigan, where a lot of unionized workers would be very angry if the Biden administration were to take action to force the unionized dock workers to go back to work right away. Pete Buttigieg, totally in the tank, on the side of the unions. These companies need to put forward an offer that's going to get the workers to the table. And again, such an offering would be absolutely compatible with the companies remaining profitable. Buttigieg said in an appearance on the exchange, there was a single year where the shipping sector took in $220 billion in profit around the world. And you've got these ocean carriers, foreign ownership, but we've been engaging with them at the global level and at the North American level. They are certainly in a position to be able to include workers to participate in their profitability. This could end tomorrow. I don't know. What I'm hearing is that they want a 77% pay raise. 77, and some of these people make about $200,000 a year of what I've been reading. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But again, they could force them back to work. And it seems like to me, given what we have going on, with this economic hit, we're going to need stuff coming into this country to rebuild those areas. And we're not going to be able to get the stuff we need. It's going to come to it's going to get a crunch time pretty quick unless this dock strike is settled. And they could force them back and say, look, we're going to require you to go back to work, and we'll consider this a cooling off period while negotiations continue to see if we can come to some accommodation. But because they're so totally in the tank with the unions, they're not likely to do that. Time for the news now, 3:30.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Hurricane Helene-related deaths have now risen to at least 200. That's 11 in Far East Tennessee. And 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett telling WTN's Murphy Show he's lived there all his life and never experienced anything like it.
The rain wasn't so much here. It was in North Carolina. And then when it came down those mountains, it just, it snowballed. It's just gravity, and it had to go somewhere, and it went down through those hollers. And those hollers a lot of them happened to be in Tennessee, and it just washed out those poor country folks. And there is no way to prepare for something like this.
Flags at the state capitol are at half-staff for the flood victims. President Biden going to Florida to survey damage today, and he may get an earful from Governor Ron DeSantis, who says the Biden administration needs to act now to end the dock workers' strike that threatens economic hardship on people who are already suffering.
This is something that would have significant impacts on the nation's economy anyways. But to have this happen in a way that could negatively impact people that are reeling from a Category 4 hurricane, that is just simply unacceptable.
Today's day 3 of the strike, no end in sight. In Memphis, the jury has begun deliberations in the Tyree Nichols case. 3 black former Memphis police officers facing life in prison if convicted in Nichols' beating death. They've all pleaded not guilty. And in Colorado today,
I'm not a criminal. And I don't deserve to go into a prison where other people have committed heinous crimes.
That's former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters, sentenced to 9 years in prison after being found guilty of election tampering and misconduct that the court says was inspired by claims of voting fraud in the 2020 election. She was accused of giving an individual affiliated with MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, a Trump confidant, access to the election software she used for her county. Screenshots of the software appeared on websites. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Dealing with crashes, specifically on the South Loop downtown. We got 40 westbound after 4th Avenue, then an injury crash 40 eastbound, the right 2 lanes blocked at Demumbrian, then about 42 miles west of downtown, 40 westbound, the left lane blocked due to an overturned truck. That is now a more than an hour delay. Multi-vehicle crash now just coming up. The left and right lane blocked. This is 40 westbound at Spence Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Let me tell you about the folks at United Structural Systems. We've had sort of the 1-2 punch that you really have when you have it can cause problems with your foundation or problems with the crawl space underneath your house. First of all, we had that long dry spell and it was hot and dry, and that's when your foundation cracks start to show up because, you have a drought condition or an extreme moisture condition. It can cause the foundation failures, and if you see the cracking bricks or the doors or windows that stick or walls that are bowing, call them. United Structural Systems has been around since 1994, more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. You got water in your crawl space or in your basement, they can help you with that. And the other thing that they do so well is that they can level concrete that is sinking or sloping or maybe, have cracks in it, that kind of stuff. They use the USS Polylift system. They say actually it's cheaper to raise it than it is to replace it. So, why don't you give them a call? They can do this very quickly with their system. You can walk on it immediately, drive on it within 30 minutes. They do it quick in one day. It's really amazing. Here's the number, 615-488-7855. Learn more at ussTN.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It is 39 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair on the air. I just want to tell you guys that you may notice my throat, my voice sounds a little croaky today. A little croaky.
Well, now it does.
I feel like I could do that pop, a mow thing, in Elvira. I've been spending my day. I spent my morning with my other Chris Webber.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
I have Chris Webber, my producer, who's the most exceptional producer in all of radio, and then I have another Chris Webber in my life who is my dentist.
Yeah.
So I've been in the chair most of the morning having a couple of crowns put on. It's amazing.
Wow.
2 crowns replaced
Royalty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. I mean, but all in one sitting. It was amazing. But you know how they numb you up a little bit, and then you got that, and it sort of, some of it ends up down in your throat, and so you sound like this for a little while. So when Cabana Wife comes over and says, "Hey, how you doing?"
I think we don't sound like this.
Well, I sounded like that earlier today, that's for sure. So anyway, got them all done, and my bite has been adjusted, so it's good.
Oh, very nice.
Cabana Wife craning her head around her, she works there too. So. And so I've been hanging out with good people. Let me tell you this. I told everybody this story was not over. I knew that there was going to be another shoe to drop on this. So we have this big TBI investigation of Nashville District Attorney, Davidson County District Attorney Glenn Funk, because he apparently had some recording devices and defense attorneys who came into his office didn't know that they were being recorded, and they apparently did take a look at the tapes and they would hand off the recordings of conversations that defense attorneys had in the DA's office when they were looking at evidence, etc. They would turn them over to the teams that were handling the cases. And Glenn Funk says there's no expectation of privacy inside the district attorney's office, but TBI said, they didn't like it. They decided not to bring the case. The Attorney General of the state of Tennessee decided not to bring a case, even though the TBI investigation raised a lot of troubling things about what Glenn Funk was doing. And everybody thought, well, that's it. And Glenn Funk saying, yeah, it's over. It's over. It's not over. It's not over. Have you seen this? Judge sets hearing on Nashville DA eavesdropping scandal and its impact on first-degree murder case. This is from News Channel 5. Over the strenuous objections of Nashville District Attorney Glenn Funk, a Davidson County judge ruled Thursday that she will allow time for a full hearing in a first-degree murder case regarding allegations of the DA's office eavesdropping on defense lawyers. Criminal court judge Cynthia Chappelle's ruling came in the case of defendant Calvin Atchison, who's awaiting trial for the brutal murder of Velma Tharp in North Nashville in June of 2000. It comes a week after the release of a damning report from the Tennessee Comptroller's Office revealing that defense teams had been secretly recorded as they reviewed evidence inside the DA's office. There certainly needs to be a determination made of, number one, whether there is a conflict of interest, and there's not, and if there's not, or whether or not we know needs creates an appearance of impropriety, said Chappelle, then we need to determine what the remedy would be. Atchison's attorney, Ben Powers, had filed a motion to disqualify Funk's team from the case after the comptroller's investigative report included a photo of Powers and a private attorney reviewing evidence in the Atchison case. The attorney and investigator had been captured on the DA's recording system, Powers said, as they reviewed the evidence and discussed their strategy. Funk, appearing personally on a case that had previously been handled by two assistants, argued that the comptroller's investigative report should not carry any weight. He pointed to a Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skermetti's decision not to pursue criminal charges in the matter. But I told you, it may not be, just because he decided not to bring a case doesn't mean that there weren't things that were done that were illegal or at least unethical. And any case that is now before this district attorney's office, if those attorneys have been in Funk's office at any point, they're gonna pull the same stunt. And what I'm telling you here is that criminals may walk because of this policy that Glenn Funk had. Glenn Funk could sit there and wag his finger and say, I didn't do anything wrong. But you know what? If you're a defense attorney and you know that your conversations have been recorded when you were in the DA's office, and you don't know how that's going to impact the case, I think of course you're going to raise that with the judge, and they're going to find judges that think it's a problem. A lot of people look at it and think it's a problem. Powers objected to Funk trying to argue against his motion. when prosecutors have not yet responded in writing. The hearing was supposed to be about the case's schedule. Hang on, Judge, Powers said, interrupting Funk. I'm going to have to object at this point. Are we scheduling the case or are we hearing? Funk angrily cut him off. This is exactly why we need to schedule quickly, Mr. Powers. The District Attorney General called Powers' motion an attack on the credibility of veteran prosecutors Roger Moore and Amy Hunter. This motion filches from them their good name. And so what I'm asking for the state is, because of the damage that's done by just filing of the motion, because of how outrageous the motion is, look, I want to see criminals go to jail, but I want it to be done fairly. And Funk is now saying that this motion is outrageous. I'm not sure that it is. I'm not sure that it is. Look, if you're a defense attorney and you've got a client and you go into the DA's office and then you have a conversation and you're looking over evidence and you're in a specific area where they tell you got to go to review evidence, and you go in there and you're having a conversation among the lawyers about the case, and that's being recorded and then handed over to the prosecutors, that's not a problem. Just because the Attorney General of Tennessee decided not to bring a case doesn't mean it's not a problem. He said he didn't know if he could get a conviction. That's why he didn't bring the case. He said, I'm not sure I can get a conviction. But that doesn't mean it's not a problem. It's not something that defense lawyers, every defense lawyer worth his salt is now going to raise this as an issue in the court. And they're going to say, look, Judge, I think we have to throw this case out. Or, hey, Judge, I think we have to throw out this prosecution team. I don't think we can try this here in Davidson County. What a mess this is going to be. So, again, it ain't over. And Glenn Funk can stand there and wag his finger and get beat red, and he believes that he did nothing wrong. But he's not the final arbiter of what is right and what is wrong in these particular cases. It would be the judge in these matters. And already, one judge has said, we need to have a hearing about this. We need to find out more. We need to find out, whether or not this case needs to be handled in a different way. Is it possible that some of these charges could even be dismissed because of what defense attorneys will claim is prosecutorial misconduct? I don't know. I know if I had a parking ticket and I was going in and I had some similar thing where I knew that attorneys had been, I would raise it. Who wouldn't raise it? These people are. That's what defense attorneys do, and you've just handed them a gift by having this recording system in place in the district attorney's office and by actively recording defense attorneys when they came into the office, according to the TBI investigation. That's not me speaking. TBI confirmed it. They said there were no signs. Well, they said there was one little sticker in a very hard-to-see place, wouldn't even notice it, that said that you could be not only video but audio recorded. I mean, I don't even like the idea of the video recordings in that situation. But when you add the audio to it, that's information that a prosecutorial team could utilize to build their case and to make their case stronger, to know what the thinking of the defense team was before you get to the courtroom. So I think it's not over. I think this is going to be the first of many of these kinds of things that are going to pop up. And I think that we've got a real problem, because I think ultimately some criminals are going to walk. I think ultimately the judges are going to be angry about this, and they're going to demand remedies from the prosecutorial team, and the prosecutorial teams are going to have to be working at a disadvantage because of the rulings of the court. Evidence may be thrown out, and cases could be thrown out. Cases could be moved to other jurisdictions. Change of venue. A lot of that stuff is going to happen. We'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on it. But today, as I told you, it ain't over. 50 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Let's talk about the folks over at DT McCall and Sons who have been around in this business for selling furniture and appliances and all kinds of stuff for your home for more than 100 years. I mean, that's a long time. Started out with one location, now they're up to 5 locations. And you'd only survive that long in the business world if you have a reputation for treating people right. And they do. That's one of the things that they're going to treat you honestly. They're going to deal with you forthrightly. They're never going to charge you extra for the things that the big box stores charge you extra for. They're not going to charge you extra for delivery. They're not going to charge you extra for setup. They're not going to charge you extra for the haul away of the old thing. And then the other thing I like about them is whenever possible, they sell products that are actually made and manufactured right here in Middle Tennessee. And that's what you want, right? Don't you want to do business with a Tennessee company that does business with other Tennessee companies? So you're keeping the dollars local rather than giving to a big box store with an office in Delaware? No, that's not what you want. So whether you need furniture, appliances, you need a mower, whatever it is that you need, a safe, a gun safe, they've got a lot of those out there. But whatever it is, big T, screen TV, a bedroom suite, I mean, if you need it, they got it at DT McCall's. Find out more about their 5 convenient locations by going to the website, dtmccalls.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
No need to panic buy. What might the dock workers' strike mean for Tennessee? Hurricane death toll climbing, and former President Trump is pouncing after reports that FEMA doesn't have enough money to handle another hurricane. All this and more at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, start today by looking at the oil prices because they have jumped up $3.51 a barrel for West Texas Intermediate crude. About a barrel of oil now goes for $73, and that's going to go up, and that's all because of what's happening in the Middle East right now. Brent crude up $3.50 a barrel, so there's that. Now looking at the markets, because of that, perhaps Dow Jones Industrial's down 184 points today. S&P was down 9. The NASDAQ was down about 6 points today. What's driving all of this? Let's check in with John Maxson over at Beacon Capital Management for more. Good afternoon, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, and you're spot on. Stocks were down just a little bit, but really looking inside of the numbers, the market overall seemed a little bit calmer, and for the fact that Israel is not at least attacked Iran. I think everybody thinks that's coming, but boy, oil spiking 5% today, that's a really big deal. Definitely some concerns by the market and really the economy for supply. The other thing that happened that's going to be interesting, especially as we head into the jobs report tomorrow, initial jobless claims were a little bit higher than what was expected, which really puts more pressure on the jobs report for September that will come out tomorrow. Fed hoping that they haven't acted too late and the labor market hasn't cooled off too much. The market's going to be watching that closely as well, especially adding to what's happening in the Middle East. So important jobs report tomorrow.
All right, thank you, John. Learn about all the things that John Maxson and the other good people at Beacon Capital Management can do to help you get ready for your retirement. Just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. It is 59 minutes past the hour. And speaking of the aforementioned Beacon, are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? Might be hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans just like you could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You could be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, and any other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait a second longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number, 615-488-9303, or visit askbeaconnow.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, experts say there's no need to stockpile items like toilet paper due to the dock workers' strike. Supply chain professor at Lipscomb University, Andy Boycher, is telling Channel 4 only items that are imported will be a problem.
So far, really no impact. But as the days go by, the problems will amplify, and then we'll begin to see effect. You may see effect in some imported cars. You may see effect in imported alcoholic products in time.
Yeah, 80% of imported beer, wine, and whiskey comes through East and Gulf Coast ports, so you could see higher prices for that. But for things like toilet paper, well, they're made right here in America. And Brother Brian has already told you about that. The number of dead from Hurricane Helene now tops at least 200 people in states across the Southeast. That includes Tennessee, where 11 have been confirmed dead. 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett, that is, telling WTN's Matt Murphy he's lived all his life in East Tennessee and never experienced anything like it.
There's people that are still trapped back up in those hollers that up on the mountainside that can't get out. And roads are completely washed out. Driveways, everything is gone. They have no way to do it. And some of them are getting back there with mules and horses and four-wheel drive.
President Biden going to Florida and Georgia today may call back Congress, and former President Trump campaigning in Michigan is pouncing.
The Homeland Security Secretary warns FEMA may not have enough money to make it through the rest of the hurricane season. In Saginaw, Michigan, former President Trump offered this theory as to why.
Because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country.
The Trump campaign points to a report that FEMA has nearly doubled spending on its shelter and services program for migrants living in big cities. A White House spokesman says FEMA disaster relief is completely separate from that.
100,000 new parents in the UK have agreed to have their infants' genetic codes analyzed for rare diseases. Sherry Preston with more on what it could mean.
Newborn babies are routinely given a heel prick blood test that checks for 9 serious conditions, but there are many more potential rare diseases out there, and doctors are hoping new genetic screening will catch them earlier. England's National Health Service is recruiting 100,000 families who have agreed to let doctors test blood from their babies' umbilical cords. That could lead to detection of as many as 200 rare conditions early in a baby's life.
And back here in Tennessee, we are monitoring what happens in a courtroom in Memphis where a jury is deliberating the Tyree Nichols case. 3 black former police officers face life in prison if convicted of beating Nichols to death. All 3 have pleaded not guilty. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, the South Loop, downtown, westbound. You've got a crash after 4th Avenue. Injury crash, right 2 lanes blocked near the Gulch. That's going to be 40 eastbound at DeMumbrian. And then about 42 miles west of downtown Nashville, you still got that overturned truck blocking the left lane of 40 westbound. That's a 30-minute delay, but a near 10-mile backup. And a crash at 65 northbound at the 40 south split. That's exit 82. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 8 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and listen, you're listening to The Drive on this third day of October 2024, a beautiful fall day. I mean, temperatures in the low 80s, and after having all of that gray weather and the wet weather, nice to sort of dry out for a little bit. So listen, on this Thursday afternoon, as you start to go home, we will try to get you informed about things that are going on in the world around you. I would be remiss if I did not bring this to your attention. This just breaking, and it's being reported by Fox News, and I think others as well. Garth Brooks has been accused of sexual assault and battery by his makeup artist, and there's a lawsuit that has been filed in that matter. Former makeup artist for Garth Brooks accused the country music star of sexual assault and battery back in 2019 when they were working together. There's a kind of makeup artist on the road with Garth Brooks, and she claims that things happened. No official word yet from Brooks about this. And again, the country music star reportedly filed a lawsuit attempting to block the makeup artist's impending suit. In the document filed under John Doe, Brooks denied the woman's claims. So we'll keep an eye on that as the afternoon develops, but that just now crossing the wires and being reported now by Fox News and others. All right. You know, in this election that we're in right now, you have Kamala Harris, who tends to run away from the things that she has said in the past. And she keeps taking positions that are at variance with the things she has said all along. But, you know, we have this wonderful, wonderful thing called the internet, or as I like to call it, the Wayback Machine. And it can travel us back in time and actually give us an opportunity to hear the things that Kamala Harris said that she now, you know, sort of disavows. And you know, I haven't done this in a while, but I've been collecting a few of these. The Wayback Machine has been churning over time. So, Chris, put on your safety goggles.
Let me strap this down here real quick.
And your safety helmet and all of your asbestos clothing, because this gets hot. This thing it digs up a lot of electricity. It really does. And we'll engage the Wayback Machine. Here it comes. Oh!
Going back in time. Back in time. I remember it as if it were yesterday.
Wow. Here, see, you can hear the electricity.
It's in my brain.
Whew.
Need a Gatorade or something. I don't know.
I know. I feel. I tell you, we endanger ourselves each time we launch that stupid thing. Did you know that Kamala Harris was asked one time about whether she thought it was a good idea for athletes to kneel during the national anthem? You know, this was happening in 2016 era a lot, you know, 2016, 2017, 2018. This was becoming a big deal. And she was asked about it. And you know what? See if you find this answer satisfying. You ready?
Should folks stand for the national anthem?
I think that one of the beautiful things about our country is that we were founded on certain principles that we articulated in 1776. We are all and should be treated as equals. We articulated those principles in our Constitution. And part of what we decided is what makes a fair and just and noble society and a democracy, a true democracy, is freedom of religion, freedom, right, of association, freedom to organize, First Amendment. So that is part of who we are as a country, and I will defend it to the core, which is that we give people certain choices in this country.
I don't think she ever answered the question. She never said what she thought. So there you go. That one, I think, leaves a mark. Here is Kamala Harris, and this is very timely. You talk about being ripped off today's front pages. This is her in the past talking about how disaster relief money should be handed out. Not based on need, not based on people who, you know, are really struggling. No. Disaster relief money should be handed out based on equity.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so
women.
Absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that work.
Well, you know, I want poor people to get help when they lose everything in a natural disaster. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, whether you're poor, middle income, or, you know, you have a couple of nickels to rub together, when you've been wiped out, you've been wiped out. I think this should be based on need, not on equity. But, again, Kamala Harris sees the world a little differently than perhaps I do. Kamala Harris back in 2020 saying that she thinks we need to get police officers out of our schools.
And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools. We need to deal with the reality and speak the truth about the inequities around school discipline.
Equity, inequity, that's big with her. So there you have it. She doesn't want to see. How do you feel about that, parents? You know, that you have a school resource officer there. We've had shootings where if it weren't for the school resource officers, things could have been a lot worse. She thinks that that's militarizing our schools. So if she becomes president, will she be asking school systems to get rid of their SRO officers? I wonder. See, the thing is her instincts before she knew she was going to be running for president were always the most liberal instincts out there. And then now that she needs your vote, she wants you to believe she's not the same person. I mean, here again, this is still coming up. She's being interviewed just the other day by an anchorman, I think he's from Pennsylvania, asking about the question regarding fracking.
I wanted to ask you, there's a political ad on TV from a 2019 Climate Hall town meeting that you had, in which you basically said, quote, "There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking," unquote. The ad claims that if you're elected president, you will ban fracking and you will cost Pennsylvania over 300,000 jobs. Have you changed your view on fracking? And if so, why?
So let me start by saying that ad, as you described it, is absolutely a mischaracterization that I think is intended to make people afraid of my presidency.
It's a mischaracterization, is it? Well, I happen to have the soundbite to which the gentleman referred. You tell me if it's a mischaracterization.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Okay, I mean, right there. I mean, how could you be any clearer about what your position is?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue.
So there's no doubt that she wants to ban fracking, and it's a position she's held for a long time and she's taken on in California. But now she wants you to know, well, if people say that, it's a mischaracterization of my opinion.
So let me start by saying that ad, as you described it, is absolutely a mischaracterization that I think is intended to make people afraid of my presidency.
See, and what I'm afraid of is that I'm afraid of a politician who, wets their finger and puts it in the air to see which way the winds are blowing and takes the position that they need to take for the moment. I mean, she says that her values haven't changed. Well, aren't your positions based upon your values? What do you think? Do you think she'll ban fracking or not? I mean, I think deep in her heart she wants to ban fracking, but she needs votes in Pennsylvania, so she can't say that. What do you think she'll do if she becomes president? Which of those two things do you think she'll do? Do you think she'll honor her promise to the people of Pennsylvania? Or will she she do what her values tell her she should do, which is to absolutely ban fracking, as she said. Remember? Here it is. Couldn't be any clearer.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
There's no question. Well, apparently there is a question. No, she says there's no question. I don't know which to believe. So here's one more. Much has been said about the position of Kamala Harris with regard to abortion, and the allegation has been made that the Democrats do not have a limit on when an abortion should stop. I mean, in other words, at what point in the gestation period should you say, well, we can't have any abortions beyond this point? It should be, I think, right now, I think many people look at it as, when the fetus is viable is the way it's always been looked at in the past. She's asked about that, and she never really acknowledges that there is a limit.
That did not exist before June.
Here we go.
So what is it that you believe? I mean, what week of pregnancy should abortion access be cut off?
We need to restore the protections of Roe versus Wade.
We're
not trying to do something new.
Well, that was nebulous because it was about viability, which could be anywhere between 20 to 24 weeks. And so
no. Let me be very clear.
The Women's Health Protection Act that the White House also endorsed.
Let me be very clear. From day one, the president has been clear. I have been clear. We need to put back the protections that are in Roe v. Wade into law. Since the Supreme Court took it, Congress has the power and ability to pass legislation to put those protections back in law, and Joe Biden will sign that bill. So that is what we want.
But does it need to be specific in terms of defining and where that guarantee goes up to and where it does not? At which week of pregnancy?
We need to put back in place the protections of Roe versus Wade.
You know why I'm asking you this question, though, because
we're not trying to do anything that did not exist before June of last year. We are saying
it wasn't crafted into law, and that's why I'm asking you for the specifics there, because Republicans say the lack of a precise date in cutting it off. You know this. They say that allows Democrats to perform abortions up until, birth.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is statistically not accurate.
And it's ridiculous. And it's a mischaracterization of the point. No, the point is...
But do you need to be more precise?
I am being precise. We need to put into law the protections of Roe versus Wade.
I mean, she comes back to that answer, but she never really answers the question, which would suggest that she doesn't think there are or should be any limits. Just saying, that's become a big issue just this week with the vice presidential debate. It's interesting to hear her actually explain. I mean, all of this stuff can be found by the Drive's proprietary Wayback Machine. 21 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you it'll be ready at 4 o'clock and you find out it's not. People are really tired of that kind of stuff. And if you've had it with unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to Eurofix. Eurofix will have your vehicle ready when it's supposed to be ready, so you're not standing around waiting. Eurofix repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer without dealer pricing. That's because dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of a dealership's overhead, and that is a lot of money. Why would you want to pay for that? At Eurofix, reliable means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Make sure you call ahead as loaner cars are very popular. If you're tired of unreliable repair shops, come to where it is reliable. Eurofix, family owned for some 24 years. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Hurricane death toll, port strike update, holiday help wanted signs are going up. These stories and more at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 25, let's call it 26 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. I mean, what's a few seconds among friends? You're listening to The Drive. Ken Weaver in the newsroom and Chris Webber in the control room. And as I mentioned, I spent much of my morning with the other Chris Webber in my life. I mean, I have an abundance of Chris Webbers.
Well, one is plenty.
I mean, really, one you'd think would be enough, but no, I have two. I mean, it's really strange. My dentist is named Chris Webber.
Yep.
Spelled exactly the same way.
Wow. Yeah, small world.
Yeah.
I bet he ain't as good looking as me, though.
Well, he's a handsome fellow. He's a good-looking guy.
But can he run as fast?
I don't know. But I bet he couldn't run that complex machinery there in the control room.
Well,
although he was great with the drill this morning.
Yeah. I couldn't drill a crown in your mouth either. So I guess we each have our merits.
What are the odds that I have two people in my life named Chris Webber?
Yeah, it's not like it's Tom Jones or something.
No, it's not like Brian Wilson. I mean, you can't swing a cat without hitting a Brian Wilson somewhere. Within Cumulus, at one point, I don't know if it's still true or not, there were 3 Brian Wilsons within our company.
Yep, and one of them used to be the old program director
at WTN, that's right. Yeah. So I met him one time. I had a great conversation with him one time. I said, because when you have a name like Brian Wilson, and there's a famous Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, brilliant, everybody knows how brilliant he is, and a great composer and legendary. And so, people always like to say that, hey, I really liked your work with the Beach Boys. And like I never have heard that before. And I'm nice about it. I always say, "Oh, I'm not that Brian Wilson, but I get around." And that that usually,
nice.
I bet you've heard that before. And I go, yes, a few times. but I said to the other Brian Wilson, who was the program director, when I met him this years ago, I said, "What do you say when people, say, how you do the Beach Boy thing?" And he said, "Oh, I have a great line." I said, "What is it?" He says, "They say, Brian Wilson is my air name." "Oh, really? Well, what's your real name?" "Eric Clapton." Which I thought was not bad. Yeah.
I might have gone with, Paul McCartney or something like that.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, but I thought that was Eric Clapton was the name. Then I thought, well, now, that's a good one. I have used that a few times. I borrowed it. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. So anyway, but no, he was drilling on me today, and I didn't feel a thing, which is what you want.
Well, that's right. Means he did it right.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you just sticking your tongue over to
still got all that, post-dental stuff.
Ugh, that grit.
Yeah, that's why my voice is so froggy today. They put that stuff in there to numb your gums before, and then they give you the shot.
Yeah.
So you don't, but they put the stuff in first, but it drains down your throat, and it does this to your vocal cords.
Yeah, I hate that stuff.
That's better than a pack of Winstons.
Well, I guess that's right. And so, but I mean, tonight when Cabana wife comes home and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, I'm sure you'll love that.
Yeah. I want to remind you to join Dan, Chris, Matt, and me for our live coverage of the 2024 presidential election presented by U.S. Pest at the James E. Ward Agricultural and Community Center at the Wilson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon, Tennessee, just up the road from where I'm at now. It happens Tuesday, November 5th, as we broadcast live starting at 3 p.m. with The Drive. Then we jump to live election coverage with all four of us together. This is the election party to be at, and it's free to attend, all ages, with food and beverage available to purchase. Join us live in Lebanon for Election Night USA. Special thanks to Busy Bee and the Glock Store. For sponsorship opportunities or to purchase special VIP tickets, visit 997WTN.com, and we hope to see you there. Time for the news with Ken Weaver, 4:30 now.
Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes, and the death toll from Hurricane Helene now is at least 200. 11 confirmed in East Tennessee, where 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett tells WTN's Murphy Show there are people trying to scam well-meaning people by claiming to be raising money for the victims.
Be real cautious. If somebody's calling you, asking you for a donation, don't give it to them. Hang up. Don't engage them one bit. Don't give them your credit card number. Don't give them a second of your time, because they're dirt bags. And there's a hotter hell for people like that.
TEMA has a list of reputable organizations for which you can donate to on its website. Burchett says internet rumors that TEMA and FEMA, by the way, are confiscating donations are false. The strike by over 40,000 dock workers in ports along the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico now on its third day, no sign of ending. Ahead of President Biden's arrival to survey hurricane damage today, Governor Ron DeSantis called on the Biden administration to step in and end this strike.
Biden-Harris has a responsibility to stand up for the storm victims, stand up for the people who've had their homes damaged or who've lost their homes, and make sure they have what they need to get back on their feet.
DeSantis signed an executive order sending National Guard and State Guard troops to the ports in his state to maintain order and possibly resume operations that are otherwise halted. And country music superstar Garth Brooks has now been accused of rape in a new lawsuit. It is from a former makeup artist who worked for both Garth Brooks and his wife, Trisha Yearwood. So far, no comment on this new lawsuit from Garth or his wife. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Crashes abound. It looks like 40 westbound after 4th Avenue, and then 2 lanes blocked to 40 eastbound near Demumbrian. Then about 40 miles west of downtown, we still have the left lane of 40 westbound blocked by an overturned truck in Dixon. 65 northbound at I-40 South, you got a crash, and then Old Murfreesboro Pike at Faircloth Lane, an injury crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Let me tell you about the folks over at Stoltz Co. If you're in the market for a pole barn, the two brothers that run Stoltz Co. are guys you need to talk to. Known for exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices, they can build you a new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind, and that is the Stoltz Co. difference. Let's talk about what you might do if you have a piece of property. Do you have a piece of property, piece of land out in the country maybe? Why don't you do something with it? Why don't you invest in it and build something on it, and the folks at Stoltz Co. can help you with it. Maybe a barn dominium. Now, barn dominium is a barn that you live in. They're very popular, very cool, and a lot of people really think that's the great thing. Maybe it's a place where you retire. Maybe it's a place where you go on weekends to get out of the city. Wouldn't that be great? What about a garage or an equestrian space if for your horsey people out there? And what about using their facilities to make an event space? Yeah, a place you can rent out to other people. Well, I mean, all of these are good options. Why don't you go to their website, stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO, and take a look at what they've done for other people, and then I think you're going to understand a little bit more about what they might do. Give them a call, 615-622-5992. That's stoltzco.com, stoltzco.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again,
It is 38 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and we're glad that you're with us here for the drive. Time for, we did some stuff about the election, but let's do a 2024 update because we got a lot of ground to cover here. Yesterday, we read you in great detail a troubling report by the Daily Mail. And Chris, I think yesterday you pulled me up a soundbite. Can you dig that soundbite back up? It might be helpful to have that as we sort of bring you the new development. It has to do with Doug Emhoff, who is Kamala Harris's husband. He's the second gentleman. If she becomes president, he will become the first gentleman of the United States. And the allegation leveled by the Daily Mail is that Emhoff, back, I think it was in 2012, just hauled off and slapped a woman that he was dating at the time. That's the allegation. Today, second gentleman Doug Emhoff denied the veracity of a Daily Mail report in which 3 unnamed sources accused him of having slapped a former girlfriend during a 2012 trip to the Cannes Film Festival. The report is untrue. An unnamed representative for Vice President Kamala Harris's husband told news outlet Semaphore. Any suggestion that he would ever hit a woman is false. The Daily Mail, for their part, quoted a number of unidentified sources who claimed that Emhoff slapped his then-girlfriend while the couple waited in a valet line at an event in Nice, France in 2012. The alleged altercation was purportedly sparked when the woman, identified only by the pseudonym as Jane and described as a successful New York attorney, flirted with a valet. The Harris campaign, the Office of the Vice President and representative for Emhoff's ex-wife, Kirsten Emhoff, did not comment despite repeated requests from Fox News. Several media outlets, including Semaphore, noted they've been unable to match the Daily Mail's reporting, and legacy media companies such as the New York Times have yet to report the claim. It hinged on the recollection of 3 people described as being Jane's friends. The outlet said its sources requested anonymity due to fear of retaliation. The 3 friends reportedly provided the outlet with a photo of the pair when they were still a couple, as well as the itineraries and correspondence between Emhoff and Jane to substantiate that they made a trip to France in May of 2012. One of the sources, described by the Daily Mail as a female New York attorney who learned about the alleged incident for Jane, put it this way: "He hauled up and slapped her so hard she spun around," the source is quoted as saying. "She said she was in utter shock. She was furious. She slapped him on one side and then on the other cheek with the other hand." Another friend, described by the Daily Mail as a New York businessman, told the outlet Jane called him sobbing following the alleged incident. "It was very clear what she was telling me. She said she was with a guy, her date. They were at the Cannes Film Festival, and he hit her. She was in the car with the guy at the time." The Mail friend said he learned more details about the alleged episode after the initial phone call. It was something like 3 a.m. They were trying to get out of there, and they'd both been drinking. There was a gigantic line for taxis. She went up to one of the valet guys, offered him 100 euros or whatever to get to the head of the line. She told me she put her hand on his shoulder. Doug apparently thought that she was flirting and came over and slapped her in the face. A third friend, described as a female executive, told the Daily Mail that she learned of the alleged incident in 2014 and purportedly found out new details from Jane in 2018 when Harris, then a senator from California, made headlines with her questioning of a Supreme Court nominee who had been accused of sexual assault. She is a gorgeous, strong woman. You would never expect somebody to hit her, the third friend told the Daily Mail. When he hit her, she hit him back like, "Don't you ever do that again." The third Daily Mail source says, I asked her if he ever apologized. She said no, but commented about the hit she gave him. It was a tennis metaphor, but no apology at all. So there you have it. I mean, that goes back and forth. She is not the person who claims told her friends that she had been hit is not making the allegation. But it has been confirmed by three people that she talked to contemporaneously. So, I don't know. Doug Imhoff says it didn't happen. Three people say that, well, she told us it happened. And they some of these phone calls apparently took place immediately after the incident occurred, immediately after. So, again, that is the latest on that. A lot of people have been, trying to say that Donald Trump would pass a national abortion ban. And, the Democrats are trying to scare people by saying that that's not his position, by the way. His position has been that he believes it is rightly decided by the states, that the Supreme Court got it right. But it came up yesterday. It came up during the debate the other day with the vice presidential candidates. But Trump has made it abundantly clear what he would do if a national abortion ban crossed his desk. He said he would veto it. Everyone knows I would not support a federal abortion ban under any circumstance and would in fact veto it because it's up to the states to decide based on the will of the voters and the will of the people. So I think it's important to sort of point that out because, I mean, this is, for a lot of people, this is a big issue who are, they're basing their vote for Kamala or maybe even against Trump based on this fear that he's going to pass a national abortion ban. The record is very clear. I mean, if Kamala Harris can say, I no longer believe in banning fracking, then we're supposed to believe her. I guess you have to believe the President of the United States when he comes out and says it very clearly that if a national abortion ban crossed his desk, if it somehow made its way from Congress to his desk, that he would indeed veto it because he believes the Supreme Court got it right by sending it back to the states. So, again, just want to reiterate what the record is here. In battleground state North Carolina, which, I'm wondering about North Carolina, how much of an impact will this lackadaisical response by the federal government have on this election? I mean, so many people are going to be mad. I mean, there are a lot of people in North Carolina. I forget, there's like 500,000 people who still don't have electricity. 500,000 people. And we're what, 6-7 days out now. I think 6 days. We're 6 days out. They don't have electricity. They don't feel like the government is coming to their rescue. And, if you say, well, I'm mad at the Biden-Harris administration, does that then make you say, well, no way I'm voting for those people. They didn't do anything for me in my time of need. I just wonder what that's going to do. North Carolina is a real battleground state. South Carolina, not so much. Georgia is, and it's having an impact on there as well. But in battleground North Carolina, voters say that the number 1 and 2 issue are the border and inflation. Time and time again, we have this conversation. When you ask people who you're going to vote for, well, it may be sort of close, maybe within the margin of error, hard to know. Nobody really seems to have a clear advantage. But when you ask people, okay, well, set that aside for a moment and just tell me what issues are really important to you. Well, they say that almost order. It comes up in that order, inflation or border and inflation are the two big issues. I care deeply about all that. Well, and those are issues that play well for Republicans, right? So you got to wonder if people vote the way, about the issues they say are important, if they vote their pocketbooks, if they vote on this issue of immigration, couldn't you imagine that that's going to help out Donald Trump? I think it is. And I just pointed out big story here going and talking to people about all the things that they feel. And North Carolina is a real toss-up state. On election night, let me just give you a little pro tip here. Watch North Carolina. as North Carolina, if it's a good night for Trump in North Carolina, I mean, no, and if he doesn't, that would be anything beyond just a squeak out win. I think he'll probably, if the polls are right, he'll squeak out a win. But if it's a bigger win in North Carolina than just, a point or so, then it's going to be a good night for Donald Trump. If it doesn't go well in North Carolina, it's going to be a long night. In Michigan, found this story on AP talking about how the people in Michigan are really nervous about where the numbers are. And I've heard this from several people who are pollsters say the polls, when you talk to people in Michigan, they are very worried. The Democrats there are very worried that Donald Trump is going to win Michigan. Here's what Alyssa Slotkin said the other day. Anyone from Michigan knows that if you believe the polling, like I got a bridge I'm going to sell you somewhere. She said the other day that her internal polling for her race, she's running for the Senate office that was once held by Debbie Stabenow, or currently held by Debbie Stabenow. And she says that her internal polling shows that Kamala is underwater in Michigan. But a lot of people there talking about how the Democrats are very worried about the state of Michigan. Patricia Schuh, a veteran Michigan Democrat campaign strategist, now deputy national states director for the Democrat voter outreach group America Votes, said voters they have Kansas are still wanting to hear more about what Harris stands for as a candidate. In some ways, it's simply the worrying point in a campaign, and some Michigan Republicans have concerns that mirror Harris's supporters. If he pulls off Michigan, if he pulls off Pennsylvania, it's going to be a big win, a big win. I like reading this stuff, and I like hearing about it. The Republican National Committee, Director of Election Integrity and Senior Advisor for Election Integrity, sent a memo Monday to RNC Chairman Michael Whatley and co-chair Laura Trump, showing that they have recruited, hundreds of thousands of volunteers and thousands of attorneys and held thousands of training sessions ahead of the November election. In other words, we're lawyering up. According to the memo from the RNC's Director of Election Integrity, the RNC has developed unprecedented resources to making sure election integrity is in place across the country. The memo explains their achievements and what else they hope to accomplish before the elections. The memo states that the RNC has hired over 115 paid staff members to facilitate volunteer training at the state level. And there have been 219,000 volunteers recruited. Wow. 2004 total trainings held, and 5,000 total attorneys recruited to look out for the interest of the Republican Party. I don't ever recall anything that large being done before by our side. So, whatever the Democrats, the Democrats are going to lawyer up. They're going to have people there. But I'm really happy to see that the Republicans are taking that very seriously as well. You know what Republicans are not doing in a big way, though? I mean, it's better than it has been. They're not voting early. In the states we're voting, I think I said yesterday, 880,000 votes have been cast so far already in this election. And Democrats are way outnumbering Republicans in that early voting. I was really hoping we would do better at that. We're doing better, but not as good as the Democrats. They really vote early. 51 minutes now past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, you think about losing some weight? Let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your health goals. Restoration Wellness is a leader in weight loss management in Wilson County. So call the Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation. And when you get there, you're going to meet my friends Carly and Jamie, who will take great care of you. They're really just lovely people, and they'll treat you like you're part of the family. So be part of the 1,000 patients who have already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program there. Gain your confidence back. Weight loss can increase your energy level, improve your quality of sleep, and enhance your overall health. These are customizable treatment plans, not one size fits all. Restoration Wellness will consider your unique needs, your lifestyle, and your goals. So if your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or just to improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. Learn about the newest techniques in weight loss management. Go to their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now, a jury in Memphis has reached a verdict in the Tyree Nichols case. 3 black former police officers pleading not guilty face life in prison if convicted. Country music superstar Garth Brooks facing a new sexual assault lawsuit. A former hairstylist that worked for Brooks and his wife Trisha Yearwood claims that she was raped. No comment yet from the Brooks. And Hurricane Helene now blamed for at least 200 deaths across Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Here in Tennessee, Tennessee Emergency Management Agency Director Patrick Sheehan telling WTN's Murphy Show, internet rumors are threatening more harm on people in need.
And FEMA, none of us are out there confiscating donated supplies, foods, material, or money. Any reports of this are absolutely false.
Sheehan says TEMA isn't taking any cash donations. He says the TEMA website directs monetary donors to local charitable organizations whom they know to be reputable. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis today urged the Biden administration to end the dock workers strike before it starts impacting hurricane victims who are already suffering. He signed an executive order.
At my direction, the Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard will be deployed to critical ports affected to maintain order and, if possible, resume operations, which would otherwise be shut down during this interruption.
Now, analysts expect you could start to see pressure on the prices you pay or possible shortage if this lasts another week, or rather 1 to 2 weeks. And the first place that would be hit are groceries imported from other countries like fresh produce, including 75% of the nation's banana supply. Those foods spoil, so retailers couldn't stock up ahead of time. Could also see higher prices for alcohol. 80% of imported beer, wine, and whiskey comes through East and Gulf Coast ports. And right now in Colorado, former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters, an accused 2020 election denier, found guilty of election tampering and misconduct, is going to prison after begging a judge for leniency.
I'm not a criminal. And I don't deserve to go into a prison where other people have committed heinous crimes.
Judge Matthew Barrett was not moved.
You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again.
So the former clerk was given 9 years. She was accused of giving an individual affiliated with MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell access to the election software she used for her county. Prosecutors said screenshots of that software appeared on websites. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we have crashes affecting both east and westbound. South Loop downtown, we got 40 westbound near 4th Avenue, and then 40 eastbound near Demumbrian. A crash at 65 northbound and I-40 south, and then near B&A, Old Murfreesboro Pike and Faircloth Lane. Then about 42 miles west of downtown Nashville, 40 westbound, the left lane is blocked by that overturned truck from this morning. It's only a 7-minute delay now, so that is getting a little bit better. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy on this third day of October. A nice day. Really pleasant afternoon. I wish I had just fun and pleasant stories to go along with the fun and pleasant weather we're having, but I don't. I've got a story that, quite frankly, it has me seething, and I think it will have you seething as well. This is just wrong on so many different levels. I mean, what do I always say about, the first responsibility of government is what? Public safety, right? And we may not care about a lot of things that government does, but the one thing we sort of expect is that when there is a disaster at hand, that the government is going to come and help us out. I'm of the belief that you should make your own preparations because, you shouldn't rely on the government. But, there's some people who are just not in a position to do that, quite frankly. And you want the government to be there to give you a helping hand when things have really gone bad, when the power is off, when the people are floating down the river, where there are mudslides and people are losing everything that they have, as many people in the flood region are. They're really going through a tough time. This is a bad one. This is a 1,000-year flood. This is a flood of biblical proportions. This is really a bad one. And it seems as if the Biden administration is not getting it done and responding in a way that is helpful to people. Now, here's something that really just hacks me off. I mean, I would use stronger words if they were allowed by the FCC. I'm so angry about this. We just gave $8 billion more. That's in addition to all the $1 billion that have gone for. We just gave an additional $8 billion to Ukraine, right? And for the people in America who are in need of help right now, well, don't worry. Kamala Harris arrived yesterday to tell you that you'll soon get $750. You may have lost everything, but don't worry. Uncle's going to give you $750 while they're giving billions to Ukraine. And apparently they've been taking a lot of the FEMA money and spending it to house illegal aliens to the tune of the last couple of years of $1 billion. Today, Alejandro Mayorkas said, well, we're okay for the moment. They just got another $20 billion from Congress. The Homeland Security Department and FEMA did. $20 billion. They said, well, we're okay for now, but we're not going to have enough money to get through the rest of the hurricane season.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
They don't have the money. Well, why? Because they spent a lot of it to house illegal migrants who came to this country. So they got money for the migrants. Millions and millions of dollars for the migrants. They got $8 billion for Ukraine, But if everyday hardworking Americans lose everything in a major natural disaster like a flood, like a hurricane, well, they got $750 for you. They'll have to get you through. Man, if you're living out of the back of your car, I can promise you $750 is not going to go very far. Now, there'll be other aid, I suppose, but I mean, let's get our priorities straight here. What about helping out Americans before we help out Ukrainians? What about helping Americans before we help out people who are in this country illegally? I mean, does that not make you mad? Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia says that he thinks that what he's seen, that the response from the federal government has been sort of lackluster so far.
People were outraged, including me, because there was such devastation in up to 90 counties. So we called the White House. We spoke to the president's chief of staff, the FEMA administrator, and said, "Look, you're sending the signal that you're not paying attention to some of these rural communities."
Yeah, what they did was they said, we'll take care of 11 counties. Well, there are 90 counties that have need. 90. 9-0. And then there doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot going on to actually help rescue people. In some of these areas, the real problems are not down at the river. They're up in the mountains where there have been mudslides and people are losing their homes. They're sliding off the side of the mountains in Appalachia. You're going to hear this. This is a lengthy piece of tape, but I want you to listen to every minute of it. Just indulge me on this one occasion. You need to hear what Jonathan Howard has to say. Now, Jonathan Howard is with the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and he's there in that capacity, but he's also a private pilot with a helicopter. And you can listen to this soundbite on your own if you want to hear it again, because a lot of people are really asking me, where did you get this? I got it from realclearpolitics.com. Jonathan Howard talking about what he has experienced and the lack of any federal response that he's seen thus far.
My name's Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which is great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete shit on the news, and these politicians don't have a clue, and they're lying. And I'll say this now, and I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some like government helped with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too because she had 1 day left of oxygen. No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues.
Why is that? I mean, isn't that make you, I mean, we got helicopters. I know, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of helicopters in the military and the National Guard. Where are they? Why is it that we're relying only on civilian helicopter pilots? It's maddening.
I have my entire team up here from Florida right now, and they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off. Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass. And she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that. But, like, I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. Like, we'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military. There's no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind. And they're not even allowing people to see what's really going on. One of our friends yesterday, they were actually escorting CNN down at Lake Lure, and they wouldn't even let CNN, the sheriff department would not let them go videotape the bad areas, how destructive it is. I don't know why they don't want to show you all that, but I mean, it is bad. I should also say, when I flew here on Sunday, they actually stopped us from going in, the sheriff department. And it was because of a bunch of politics that they were claiming was the Speaker of the House of North Carolina that was preventing us from even going in and trying to kick us out, which I have clarified today with North Carolina politicians that reached out to me, good on them, and they were like, that's complete Speaker of the House has nothing. He wants you guys there. But this is the kind of political BS that is happening here right now. Like, everyone's trying to be in charge without taking any type of action. Nobody wants to coordinate with anybody. Everybody wants to pretend like they're being the hero while these people are literally dying in the mountains. And these people, like I'm saying, these people are limited medication. They're running out of oxygen, and there's no one going to get them. The most effective way I have found to go find these people is by getting in a helicopter and flying down the rivers and roads and looking for SOS messages or people waving us down. And then we drop down and get them. We have all these people here. We have law enforcement. We have State Guard, National Guard. They have no way to go get these people. Yesterday, when I was at the Asheville airport refueling.
Listen to this.
We're in Asheville, and I saw 2 Air Force helicopter 60s. And I knew they were PJs just looking at them. And I went up to them, like, hey, guys, like, what are y'all doing? And, like, this is what you need to be doing. This is how I'm finding people. And they're like, we can't go. We're waiting on Title 10 orders. And I'm like,
they're waiting on the paperwork. Helicopters are sitting on the tarmac, and they can't get the paperwork that authorizes them to go and help people. Does that make you want to pull your hair out?
What? They can't get any authority. There's military helicopters all over here sitting on the ground, and they can't do nothing. Even my JSOC boys in Fayetteville, they can't get orders to come out here. It is just the most disgusting thing, and they're killing these people. And I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what kind of conspiracy. I've heard so many things, whatever you want to come up with. But they are literally allowing these people to die in the mountains right now because we can't get helicopters. They got money for everything else in the world right now, but if they could just get us helicopters, we could fly out there and rescue these people. So I hope this video goes viral. I hope these politicians get fired. I hope people get pissed off. They'll probably kick me out of the state of North Carolina for doing this, but you know what? I don't care, because if I can save one more life for it, it's worth it to me.
Well, I got to tell you, that's absolutely infuriates me. And this is the kind of stuff from a guy who's right there on the front lines. He's frustrated because he's trying to do everything he can to help people. And if it weren't for the Cajun Navy and for the private pilots who are going up into these mountains, nothing would be done for some of these people. Now, I'm not saying that FEMA's doing nothing, but they're not getting the job done. And it is maddening to know that we have helicopters sitting on the ground in Asheville, and they can't fly because they're waiting on somebody to sign off on the frickin' paperwork? Come on. Maddening. This is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Katrina. They are failing these people in a very big way. If you want to see that video for yourself, without the bleeps, just go to realclearpolitics.com. The guy's name is Jonathan Howard. He's from the Florida State Guard, but he's up there also in a private capacity, getting it done, but not seeing much else being done for people who really have a need at the moment. Tragic situation. I don't know what to... I got another story here. It's from another pilot, and he's talked to some reporters about something that happened. I'm going to try to just shortcut the story. This guy's got a private helicopter. He's flying up. Sometimes they can't really land. They can only put a skid on the side of the mountain. And, so rather than, put their helicopter in danger, because they feel like if they put any pressure on some of these areas, then it's going to slide, right? So what they're doing is they're like the co-pilot will get off, and somebody who needs to be rescued will get on. They'll fly them down, come back, get the second person, fly them down, and then go back and get the co-pilot, right? That's what they're having to do in some of these situations because it's so dangerous. They made the first run, and then they got confronted by some local fire officials there who said, "Who are you and what are you doing?" "Well, we're rescuing people." He said, "Well, you don't have any authority to do that, and you can't go back up here." So, "Yeah, well, I got my co-pilot up. There's another guy who needs to be rescued. So, yeah, I'm going to go get them, and then if we need to move on, fine." He said, "No, if you go back up there, you're going to get arrested." And it turned, and if it had been me, I'd have said, "All right, pal, well, we'll just see about that, okay? I got to go pick up that person who needs to be rescued, and then I'm going to pick up my co-pilot, and then we'll have a conversation about it." But the guy got in his face about it and said, "If you go back up in the mountain and rescue anybody else, when you come back, you will be put in handcuffs." Why? Why is this happening? And there are witnesses to this. So, what I would tell you is that something has gone horribly wrong here. And when, that moment where you hope that the federal government's going to come to your rescue, because here it is, we've got a disaster. It's nobody's fault. People are trying to do the best they can. Maybe they made some good precautions. Maybe they didn't. But one way or the other, they need help. There are dire situations, and people will still die if something is not done to help these folks out. And it doesn't seem like the federal government is there in a very big way if you listen to the words of Jonathan Howard from the Florida State Guard. 22 past the hour. Let me tell you about the folks over at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. You've been listening to me. You know how I trust them with my back pain. The Wellness Institute of Nashville is the place to go if you have back or knee pain. Give them a call today at 615-246-5009 to get the help you need. But I want to remind you of something that they're doing there in Mount Juliet, their hometown, at the Charlie Daniels Park in Mount Juliet. A big community party, a concert to honor our local police officers, firefighters, first responders, and veterans. It's not only free, but you'll hear music provided by Brian White and Colin Ray performing a full concert set. And Colin Ray is revealing a brand new song written just for this event. Now, it was going to be on the 27th of last month, but we got rained out, so it's now scheduled again for October 11th at 6:30. Super Talk 99.7 WTN Talent will be there on the site, and so will folks from our sister station 95.5 Nash Icon. So bring your lawn chairs, blankets, and get ready for the party at the biggest community event Mount Juliet's ever known. Starts at 6:30 on the 11th of October. The Love Our City concert sponsored by Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley at the Wellness Institute of Nashville.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Tyree Nichols' verdict's in, and a country music superstar named in a sexual assault lawsuit coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
27 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair, Ken Weaver in the newsroom, Chris Weber in the control room. Glad you're with us here on this Thursday, the 3rd day of October. Man, a beautiful afternoon. It really turned off nice. And finally, I think, Chris, I think now my grass is probably dry enough that I can mow it.
Yeah, I think mine is too. I think I'm going to get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get up early tomorrow and get that cranked out before the show tomorrow. But
hopefully that'll be the last time of the season.
You think?
I hope so.
I'm telling you, but it came back with a vengeance after that rain. I'll tell you for sure. Let's talk a little bit about. Let's talk about Tim Walz. He didn't have a particularly good debate. There was that whole question about Tiananmen Square. And he didn't seem to have a good explanation when he said he was there in China during he's in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square riots I forget which year it was, 89, I think it was. Is that right? I think so. But he was there, and he wasn't there because we have pictures of him someplace else on that date. And he sort of stuttered and stumbled around.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this is I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor.
At the end of that, it's so awkward. He looks to J.D. Vance and says, "Can you help me out here, pal?" I don't know why he was looking to J.D. Vance, but that's what he did. He says, look, I'm prone to misspeaking at times. After all, I'm a knucklehead at times. A knucklehead at times. That's he's admits it. I'm a knucklehead at times. Yeah, at times. Well, apparently so. Was he being a knucklehead when he said this about he's friends with school shooters?
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
Why would you want to be a friend of a school shooter? I don't know, but I guess it's because
I'm a knucklehead at times.
He's a knucklehead at times. Here's another one. I want to know details about this.
I'm a hunter, and I found out in the first debate, Kamala's a hunter.
Kamala's a hunter. Well, she said she was a gun owner. I didn't know she was a hunter. How come it is we haven't seen any pictures of this purported weapon that she owns? What kind of weapon is it? If she's a hunter, it's probably, was it a shotgun? Does she go pheasant hunting? Can you imagine going pheasant hunting with Kamala Harris? I would be more worried about going pheasant hunting with her than I would be Dick Cheney.
She's got the call down.
Come here, birdies. Yeah, I don't know. What do you believe that she is a hunter? Why does she go? Is it deer hunting? She goes hunting for campaign contributions, I think. I don't know, but one way or the other. I just love that.
I'm a hunter, and I found out in the first debate, Kamala's a hunter.
Or was that just him being...
I'm a knucklehead at times.
A knucklehead at times. I don't know. Well, again, we'll have to just, wait around and see if we get any explanations. I don't really expect them. 30 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Memphis, the verdict is in for the 3 former Memphis police officers charged in the 2023 beating death of Tyree Nichols. These officers have been found guilty of Nichols' death, but 2 of them were acquitted of the civil rights violations part of the case. Sentencing for all 3 set for January 22nd, and they face life in prison. Country music star Garth Brooks has been accused of sexual assault and battery in a lawsuit filed by a Jane Roe, who says she worked as a hairstylist and makeup artist for the singer. She claims she was once raped by Brooks during a work trip. This complaint filed in a state court in California today. No comment from Brooks. And this just coming in from way out west. Los Angeles prosecutors plan to review the 1996 murder case of the Menendez brothers, who were convicted of killing their parents. Hurricane Helene-related deaths have risen to at least 200 across Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. At least 11 deaths in Tennessee confirmed so far. President Biden went to Florida and Georgia today.
President Biden in hard-hit Ray City, Georgia, said in the wake of Hurricane Helene, it's time to put politics aside.
We're really in this together. We're separate states, but we're the United States of America.
The president said it will cost billions to rebuild in the southeast states and said Congress has an obligation to ensure they have the resources they need.
And ahead of Biden arriving in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis said the Biden administration needs to act now to end this dock workers strike that threatens economic hardship on people he says are already suffering.
This is something that would have significant impacts on the nation's economy anyways. But to have this happen in a way that could negatively impact people that are reeling from a Category 4 hurricane, that is just simply unacceptable.
Yeah, today is day 3 of the strike, and there's no end in sight. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still have that crash on the South Loop downtown. It's 40 westbound near 4th Avenue. And now we got one. This is a new crash, 440 eastbound. It's between Nolensville Pike and I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, one thing that really makes Genesis Diamonds stand out from any other jewelry store is the education you get. These are not clerks behind the counter. These are seasoned pros. They know everything there is to know about diamonds, and they will take the time to teach you in a way that is transparent, informative, and useful. They'll even teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. They'll show you the inside secrets of the diamond industry, and they will show you how diamonds are priced and graded on the world market and how you can maximize your budget. They will also teach you all about lab-grown diamonds and how you need to be very, very careful where and how you buy them. You see, this is all done in a relaxed, no pressure, no expectation kind of atmosphere. They know most guys don't know much about diamonds, so they are committed to teaching you, not selling you. When you're ready to buy, Genesis will give you access to one of the largest selection of GIA-certified diamonds in America. So they will let you see 10, 15, 20 diamonds in your price range side by side so you can make an intelligent decision. I'm telling you, if you're diamond shopping, this is the place to go. It's a no-brainer. The education you want, the selection you need, the price you deserve, zero risk, zero pressure. Genesis Diamonds, voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring 10 years in a row. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
There it is. That festive music means it's time for the Three Amigos to gather. And boy, I'm excited that they have decided to gather. We always enjoy the Three Amigos. They are Ken Weaver in the newsroom.
Good morning.
Put $1 in the jar.
It's sticking with me, man. I can't shake it.
I know. It takes a while to get used to it. Well, when you've been doing mornings as long as you did mornings, you are to be forgiven for that.
Good afternoon, boys.
All right, and there's Chris Weber in the control room.
Greetings and salutations.
And I'm Brian Wilson. Together we make up the Three Amigos, and you never know what might happen with the Three Amigos. Before we get too deep into that, I'm just going to say this. The port operators have offered a 62% raise.
62%.
Yeah. Now, they were at 50, and it was rejected. The dock workers wanted 77, and now it looks like they're trying to sweeten the offer to 62%.
All right.
To see if they can get this thing settled in short order. So,
what do you think the sweet spot is, Brother Brian?
I don't know. Maybe 62.
That's a pretty sweet spot, if you ask me.
Yeah,
grief.
Who gets a 62% raise?
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that for sure. But anyway, there's that. And I just I want you guys to start. I because I was looking that up, I have to go back and find my other story. But who wants to go first?
You go ahead, Brother Chris, because I'm wrapped up right now.
All right. Well, I'll go first then. This is a weird story I found, and of course, if you have children, there's nothing as a parent. There's nothing you wouldn't do to protect your child.
No,
just to keep your child safe. You would do anything that you could possibly do. Well, this is what one father did in Pakistan. He was fearing for his daughter's safety after there were some bad things happened. Let's say, what was it that happened? There was a threat of violence against women in the city that they lived in. So he wanted to take some extra, security measures. So what he did was he made his daughter wear, and this is an adult. At least it looks like an adult. It may be a teenager. This is not a child, a small child. This is at least a teenager, I would say. But made her wear a surveillance camera on her head so he could keep an eye on her.
Oh, my goodness.
That went over like gangbusters,
and
I bet.
I mean a tried and true real surveillance camera. I mean, this thing was probably a good 3 to 5 inches tall, and he mounted it on a platform and then put the platform on top of her head. He says
oh my goodness.
That he installed the surveillance camera so he could monitor her activities throughout the day and make sure she was all right. And she actually did an interview. She was stopped and did an interview. I guess the person was asking her why are you walking around with a CCTV on top of your head? She said it was her father's idea, adding that she had nothing against it because she knew that her parents were concerned about her security. And she went on to say that the idea of wearing what I just assume is a battery-powered camera. I mean, she's walking around, so she's not plugged in somewhere. But it was inspired by the death of a young woman that was there in the town they lived in. And she says that he thought it was just an extra layer of security, but some people obviously think it's a little bit absurd. The thing that's not being clear is how is this powered and how is it being accessed by the woman's father?
Yeah.
Is it just recording footage? Maybe it could be battery powered. I don't know. Maybe it's just recording the footage. But what good is that going to do if something happens? You'd see what happened, but you wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
One of those stories that when you read it, you have more questions than you have answers.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
and I hate that we're not television for this instance, because just seeing this young woman, she has her burqa on, covering her head, and then this looks like a black plastic tray sitting on top of her head, and then a white security camera sitting on top of that tray.
Oh, my gosh.
I've got an idea, boys. I'm going to buy another Ring doorbell camera and put it on my son's backpack.
There you go.
There you go.
I'll be able to know where he's at. Well, I've already got Live 360.
Yeah.
This is just an added step.
Yeah. I like it.
And, boy, speaking of Live 360, that was something that I was not aware of until last year. And, of course, my son has gotten his driver's license within the last year and started driving. And, boy, that's a handy little tool.
Yeah, it is until you see your daughter is going 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, seen that too.
At 12:30 in the morning toward Nashville.
Uh-oh.
That was a very interesting night in the Weaver household.
Yeah.
So it's a two-edged sword, man.
Yeah, you're right. It is because there was one instance we had where, and Jessica is much more in tune to this than I am. I let her do the monitoring. I don't have it on my phone so that I can see it. She handles that. But there was one night in particular where he was on his way home from, I think it was like Opry Mills or something like that, and he was on the interstate, and all of a sudden it just stopped updating.
Yes.
And his little dot was frozen on the interstate. And, of course, she immediately goes to, he's been in an accident. That's why he's not moving anymore. And it was just because the app sometimes hangs up, and a few minutes later he walks in the door and all is fine. But, yeah, you're right. It can kind of work both ways. It kind of work you up a little more. But it makes me think, how did our parents deal with us as teenagers, especially the young teenagers, young drivers, not knowing where we are?
I tell you how my dad did it. My dad, of course, I was in a town of about 100,000 people.
Right.
Odessa's not a really small town, but he knew everybody.
Yeah.
And he said, when you start driving, son, I guarantee you, I'm going to know if people are going to be watching for me. And I'm going to hear about it. If you're acting up, I'm going to hear about it. And you know what? He always seemed to get word.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so
one way or another. I was lucky. My parents, I had a lot of freedom.
Did you?
I mean, I had a curfew, but I broke it all the time. Yeah. But my parents, man, they were asleep. They never
knew that you had done it. Yeah.
Now it was different for my sister.
Not my dad. Boy, I'm telling you, if I had to be in the house by 10, even when I was in high school. I had to be back. If I was on a date or whatever, I had to be back home by 10.
Yeah.
And if I was 10:01, it was bad.
He was waiting by the door, was he?
He was not happy.
Yeah.
And I got, a couple of times I came in there right there at 9:50, but I.
And he was
I
like, "You got lucky, boy."
Yeah, I know. But boy, there was hell to pay if I was even a minute late. I said, "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry, I got hung up in traffic." Not an excuse. But my dad, you had to be everywhere you're going. You had to be there early. So anyway.
Well, kind of like you, man. I didn't live in a big city either. I was little old Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, man, about 7,000 people. So, yeah.
Pauls Valley.
What can happen there?
Well,
look how I turned out.
It's Oklahoma. Nothing wrong happens in Oklahoma. Two things that I want to talk about briefly. One is, number one, tomorrow. I'm sorry, Saturday, here in Watertown, the fall mile-long yard sale. We do it in the spring. We do it in the fall, and the spring was pretty big this year. So already up and down the highway between here and Lebanon, there's people are taking advantage of it. The glommer's on.
Yeah, they're getting ready.
Are getting ready and pulling their stuff out there. So you might want to, if you want to come on Saturday to Watertown, just understand that there are very strict rules here. For example, no selling of knives to minors. It's not allowed.
That should go without saying.
That should go without saying. Just a good rule.
Yeah.
But every year they say, remember, no selling of knives to minors.
If I were the minor, I would be trying to buy the knife too.
Yeah, I know.
I'd wear a fake beard.
Yeah. So there's that. The other thing I wanted, my weird story is out of. I hope I've got this right. I think I've been there, but I don't remember how it's pronounced. La Junta, Colorado, or La Junta?
Probably La Junta.
La Junta is the way I think it is. Yeah.
Right.
It's a J, which is in the Spanish pronunciation is an H.
Yeah.
Ache. Sounds like an ache. So there you go. La
Whatever
Junta.
that means.
Yeah, ache is the letter H.
Oh. I don't remember that.
It's been a long time. Apparently La Junta is known for its gigantic tarantulas.
Oh, boy.
And they have a tarantula festival. Of course they do, right? And this is apparently the Colorado brown spider is everywhere. And they come out this time of year to mate, which it seems like to me, let me look. There's one thing I don't like.
Goodness.
It's spiders. And I especially don't like really, really big spiders.
Right.
I could do without that. Even though they say tarantulas are, largely harmless, they won't hurt you. I've said they're beautiful creatures. Said Shikak, an arachnacology arachnecology. Arachnophobia is fear of spiders.
Yeah.
So I guess arachnecology is the study of spiders at the University of Colorado, Denver. But interesting little tidbit about spiders. These spiders, apparently, the male spiders take about 7 years to get to sexual maturity, and then they got to mate, and then they don't usually last much longer after they mate. They usually die within a year. The females live for 20 years.
Yeah, why does that not surprise me?
What if you abstain as a male spider?
I don't know. Maybe you can live a little longer. I don't know.
But what's the fun in that?
Yeah. So they have a big festival, and if you're into big spiders, then La Junta, Colorado is the place that you want to be coming up, I guess, this weekend.
If you don't like spiders, stay far away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which one would be more fun, the mile-long yard sale or the spider festival.
I'd go to the yard sale.
Too bad you couldn't combine the two. That'd
Yeah.
make for some interesting purchases.
It's a true story, boys. In Oklahoma, the little radio station I worked at was out in the country, and we had just a gravel parking lot. In the summers, when it would rain, these tarantulas would try to get to higher ground, and they were all over the place. After a rain one day, I went outside with a broom to try to kill them, and one of them jumped over me and landed on my car. I dropped that broom and ran right back in the radio station.
Jumped over you?
Jumped over me. I locked the door like they could get in. And I've never messed with a tarantula since.
Yeah, they say they won't hurt you. People pick them up and play with them, and there's no harm is done. But I just no.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, I spared you having to dig up a story there, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, you've had your hands full this afternoon. A lot going on.
Ooh, yeah, I'll tell you about it.
50 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk. You know, gold has really been up recently at all-time highs, actually, and the same for silver. Not all-time highs, but really high prices. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar has lost 25% of its value since 2020. You see, this is government-induced inflation stealing your wealth, and it doesn't seem that Washington, D.C. has any plans to stop it. Now, gold and other precious metals can be a great shield against that inflation theft. No matter what the politicians promise you, they just can't help themselves. So this is no matter who's in office, gold protects you from the D.C. spending sprees. Where do you go to get that protection? Well, reach out to my friends Kyle and Hannah at Nashville Gold & Coin. They will take good care of you and keep you informed on all precious metals opportunities. Please act now and get your shield against out-of-control government spending. Go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com and set up your appointment today.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and I'm telling you, the breaking news, it's like it's coming out of a fire hose this afternoon. Right now, we are following reports of a postponement of the port strike. Reports say the union for 45,000 dock workers has agreed to suspend this strike until January 15th to allow more time to negotiate. And in Memphis, the verdict is in for the 3 former police officers charged in the 2023 beating death of Tyree Nichols. Nichols' mom, Rovon Wells, after the verdict.
I'm actually in shock right now because I still can't believe all this stuff is going on. But we're happy that they all have been convicted and they have been arrested.
Nichols' dad, Rodney Wells, called it a long time coming.
I just want to say for the family that we are all elated. We're all very, very happy that these guys have been put in jail. This is a long time coming.
So all 3 of the black former Memphis officers convicted of beating Nichols to death, but 2 of them were acquitted of civil rights violations. Sentencing is set for January 22nd. They face life in prison. Country music star Garth Brooks has been accused of sexual assault and battery in a lawsuit filed by a Jane Roe, who says she worked as a hairstylist and makeup artist for the singer. She claims she was once raped by Brooks during a work trip. The complaint filed in a state court in California today, and no comment from Brooks. And right now in Los Angeles, the Menendez brothers will have their murder sentences reviewed.
Los Angeles County DA George Gascon, who is in a heated battle for re-election, says he is evaluating new evidence in the Menendez brothers' case, including claims of sexual abuse against their father, which could lead to Gascon asking for the brothers to get a new sentence.
We have a moral and an ethical obligation.
Gascon says there is no question in his mind that they did kill their parents. They are serving life in prison.
The number of dead from Hurricane Helene now tops at least 200 in states across the Southeast. 11 confirmed dead here in Tennessee. President Biden going to Florida and Georgia today. And former President Trump, campaigning in Michigan, pounced on word that Biden might call Congress back because there's not enough money if there's another hurricane.
The Homeland Security Secretary warns FEMA may not have enough money to make it through the rest of the hurricane season. In Saginaw, Michigan, former President Trump offered this theory as to why.
Because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country.
The Trump campaign points to a report that FEMA has nearly doubled spending on its Shelter and Services program for migrants living in big cities. A White House spokesman says FEMA disaster relief is completely separate from that.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash blocking the way 440 eastbound between Nolensville Pike and I-24. And then on the South Loop, 40 westbound near 4th Avenue. And it looks like the slowdown around the loop downtown for the most part for folks trying to head south out of town on I-24 is a little bit better. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good evening, everyone. It is 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair and on the air. I'm a little whacked out today. I spent a good portion of my day in the dental chair, so
that'll do it.
That'll do it to you. I've been numbed and drilled and crowned twice.
That sounds like a good weekend for some folks.
Well, anyway, it's one of those days. So, and that's why my voice is. They put that stuff in there. First thing they put is that goo that numbs your gums. Then they give you the shot to really numb your gums, right? And that goo makes your voice sound really low. That's why I'm sounding sort of froggy today.
Froggy.
Yeah, that's right. I sort of like it.
Well, don't get used to it.
Because it won't be here tomorrow, that's for sure. That's right. But tonight, I'm going to snuggle up to Cabata Wipe and say, hey, how you doing, huh?
Yeah. Let us know how that works out for you. Nah, never mind. That's not.
She'll go, creepy. Well, she'll probably bring some of that stuff home every night.
Let's get ready to say, dude.
Just start putting it in your food.
Yeah.
What's my mouth from them?
Well, anyway, we got a lot of things going on today. Some people are saying that it looks like there is at least an agreement to go back to work. Some people are saying that the port workers' strike has ended. What's your take on it, Ken? Which one do you think it is?
Well, I think I'm very suspicious, but I'm going to keep it straight down the line. I think that when you reported that the conglomerate had offered up a 62% raise,
right?
I think that kind of placated them and gave them some confidence, knowing that they're probably going to come out okay on this deal. And given the fact that we do have so many people suffering in Tennessee, the Carolinas, Florida, and Georgia, and maybe some pressure from the White House on them, they decided, maybe we can hold out until January 15th.
Well, here we go. I'm reading something that just came off of the Wall Street Journal. This may clarify it for us. The International Longshoremen's Association and port operators in a joint statement said they had reached a tentative agreement on wages and union members would return to work. They said the agreement would extend the prior contract, which expired at the start of the week, through January 15th, 2025, while the two sides negotiate on others. So it is a temporary halt to the strike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could still fall apart, but at least they have what they call a tentative agreement.
Kind of like a continuing resolution.
Yeah. I've seen tentative agreements that go on and everything's fine. I've seen tentative agreements fall apart.
Yeah.
So, but at least now they're going back to work. So in the short term, while they work out some fine, as they say, we cross the T's and dot the I's.
Right.
Yeah. sounds like it's a move in the right direction. When you get a 62% raise, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad. All right. So there you have that. Other stuff going on here. We talked earlier about the hurricane situation and how bad the response has been. It is bad. It is really bad. And then I'm very angry that apparently the private helicopter pilots are being hassled for trying to go out there and save people's lives when apparently military helicopters are very few and far between, and there's a great need there. I don't know you could have too many helicopters right now, quite frankly. But they apparently have been giving the people who are in private helicopters grief at some points, and we heard from a helicopter pilot who's not only a member of the State Guard of Florida, but also a private pilot with his own helicopter, talking about how he goes up and he sees on a run I'll see 40 different private helicopters. But I don't see but one or two military helicopters. Where are the military helicopters? Then he said he goes over to fuel up in Asheville, and what happens is he sees a couple of Hueys, Air Force Hueys, sitting on the runway. He says, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" They said, "We can't move. We don't have the right paperwork," which is maddening. I mean, come on, get the paperwork straightened out. How long does it take you to get that done? I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help you. And it will eventually, in a week or two, we'll get the paperwork, and maybe we'll come and save you then. It's really maddening. Well, now comes this. Mayor Pete, this is Pete Buttigieg, he's the Secretary of Transportation, has ordered citizens to stop using their drones to find stranded victims. Now, police departments all over the place use drones when they're looking for people, right? Well, a lot of private citizens have gone up into the mountains and trying to help people, find. And in some cases, more than that. In some cases, you say, okay, that guy up there on the mountain, he can't get down here, but they need medicine. So you attach a packet of medicine to the drone and you fly it up there. And it can save people's lives. But Mayor Pete says, no drones. Said that you can't have the drones around the rescue and recovery efforts. Well, okay. Our goal is to make sure that funding is no obstacle to very quickly get people the relief they need and deserve. This is biblical level devastation. This is apocalyptic, the things that we see out there. I mean, it irritates me to no end that we send $8 billion to Ukraine. And if you are an American citizen and you've lost everything, they write you the check for $750. Here, hey, we're going to give you $750, which when you're living out of the back of the trunk of your car, if you still have a car, doesn't go very far. How many hotel rooms do you think that pays for, right? If you can even get a hotel room. So anyway, again, government, seems like leave the private citizens who are getting something done alone because you're certainly not getting the word done. So, again, what a mess it is. Foreign terrorist groups such as the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda and even Iran-allied forces such as Hezbollah and Hamas pose an immediate threat to the American homeland and warrant a serious response by the Biden administration, key House Republicans said in a brand new report. For some time now, people like Christopher Wray of the FBI have been sending up the word that, the terrorist matrix is flashing red. The terror threat snapshot compiled by the House Homeland Security Committee lays out in disturbing detail the number of jihadist cases in the U.S. over just the past 3 years and shines a spotlight on how so-called soft targets inside America could be vulnerable to terror attacks. The report shared exclusively with the Washington Times ahead of its public release also pointedly faults the administration for what it says has been a weak and inadequate response to the danger in recent years. Comes at a crucial moment as the conflict between Israel and the Middle East foes, most notably Iran and its network of proxy groups across the theater, heats up, and now on the verge of becoming a full-blown regional war. At the same time, U.S. military and intelligence law enforcement officials in recent months have warned about both the resurgence of ISIS in the Middle East and the group's desire and perhaps its ability to directly strike targets in Europe and the U.S. Taken together, those factors have created an environment in which the House GOP members warn attacks on Americans at home could be on the horizon. I mean, why wouldn't it be? I mean, I'm not pray. I mean, I pray that the FBI and our intelligence services are on top of this. The last thing we want is an attack against the Homeland. But I'm telling you, if there was going to be an attack against the Homeland, it wouldn't shock and surprise me, given the fact that our borders have been wide open now for 3.5 years. And we don't know about some of these people who've come across the border, the so-called gotaways. They got away without any law enforcement interaction. We don't know who those people are. We don't know where they came from. We don't know where they're going. And there are millions of them. So, yeah, it would not be a surprise if it happened. I'm sort of surprised it hasn't happened, quite frankly. And I think it's because there's some good people doing good work out there, but it doesn't mean that we're in the safe. Foreign jihadist networks like ISIS and Hezbollah, as well as homegrown violent extremists ideologically motivated by these terrorist groups, present security threats to the homeland, said House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mark Green, a Tennessee Republican, speaking on a statement accompanying the report. The Department of Homeland Security's mission to protect the American people from every threat at our doorstep, he said. The system is blinking red yet again, and even the head of the FBI has noted. Despite heightened threats from terrorists, the Biden-Harris administration continues to demonstrate weak leadership on the world stage and fails to admit its policy failures have brought us here so far. We must change course and take the necessary actions to protect the homeland. It was FBI Director Christopher Wray in July who told House lawmakers that he fears foreign terror groups could carry out an attack in America similar to the Moscow concert hall attack last March, which killed more than 140 people. ISIS-K, the Islamic State's Afghan affiliate, claimed responsibility for that particular attack. We are increasingly concerned about the possibility of not just a foreign terrorist attack, which is very much a concern, but even the potential for a coordinated foreign terrorist attack, perhaps like what we saw against the concert hall in Russia, Christopher Wray told the House Judiciary Committee in his July testimony. The report also highlights other cases from New York, New Jersey, Tennessee. I'd like to know what that one was. Well, this is an advanced look at a report that's coming out soon. Tennessee, Kentucky, Maine, Idaho, California, Illinois, Nevada, and virtually all other corners of the country in which individuals were charged with attempting to provide material support to terrorists or other terrorist-related offenses. In all, the report lists more than 50 jihadist cases across 29 states since April of 21. Golly. I hope that our people are on it. But I'm telling you, it's the old saying, our intelligence people have to be lucky all the time, and the terrorists only have to be lucky one time. Remember, it doesn't take many people to create a real terrorist attack. 9/11 was carried out by 12 people with box cutters. So I appreciate Mark Green doing this and doing this kind of work. We need to stay on top of this kind of stuff. And I hope that we get through this election season without something happening. Let's call it 20 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, They want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Major development in the port strike, and a Memphis jury reaches verdicts in the Tyree Nichols beating death case. Coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 24, we'll call it 25 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair, Ken Weaver in the newsroom, and there's Chris Weber in the control room. I knew this was a thing with Jeep people. The Jeep people have this thing where if you're a Jeep person and you see somebody else's Jeep and you admire what they've done, because with Jeeps, it's all about the upgrades and the aftermarket stuff.
Customizing.
The customizing of the Jeep, the basic Jeep, and then you make it your own. That's sort of the big deal with, those standard, Jeeps. And so the deal is if you see somebody that you say, well, I really like the way they said it, you leave a little rubber duck on their hood.
Yeah.
And then you collect them. And the cooler your Jeep, the more rubber ducks you collect over time is the idea.
Well, they say so.
That's what they say. I don't know.
I think it looks ridiculous, but you know.
I see Jeeps running down the road, and they got like 100 rubber ducks on the on the dashboard.
Maybe all the way across.
That's just showing off, in my estimation.
Yeah,
they're just showing off. But one way or the other, it's now, and this is probably not a good thing. It's now expanding into other areas. The rubber duck thing. Cruise passengers go wild hiding rubber ducks on ships in a viral game of hide and seek. Travelers aboard cruise ships around the world are taking a new approach to souvenirs by bringing and leaving rubber ducks around the boat. They'd be a ship, actually. The trend has had people purchasing rubber ducks and hiding them in spots around cruise ships. Over the last year alone, TikTok videos garnering thousands of views show users hiding and finding ducks like it's a game. They're called cruising ducks. One Facebook group has 284,000 members.
Wow.
A cute and entertaining way to have a blast on cruises and brighten others' days. The goal is to see how far our ducks will travel and where their journey might take them. Keep or hide, you decide, but please post your ducks' travels here so everyone can enjoy.
Now, that's kind of interesting. I like that idea. Like you have a duck, and I'm assuming it has some sort of something written on the bottom of it, maybe just to designate where it came from.
Or something, yeah.
And then you post it online, and then they can follow it along and see where the duck ends up. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, in the last month, roughly 3,500 posts have featured on Facebook page. One person posted a photo of their children riding. Kids came back with some 20-ish ducks. They love finding them. They were on the Carnival Dream. Another person posted a photo of their 113 ducks found. Well, now you're just getting greedy.
Whoa.
113 ducks found on the Carnival cruise lines in September.
And leave some for somebody else.
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently a lot of people are doing it. Rubber Ducky, remember that song?
Oh, Ernie.
Yeah. Rubber Ducky, you're so fine. What? Yeah,
that wasn't too bad.
That was actually pretty good, man.
And I'm happy that you're mine. You know, that's that. I do. Well, it's because Jim Henson did both those voices. The only two I can do are Ernie and Kermit.
Yeah, your Kermit needs work. Just say
you don't like my Kermit. Other people will say, "Huh?"
It's a little weak. I think the Ernie was better than the Kermit, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
That's throwing down the challenge there, Brother Brian.
Not that I could do better. I just
I listen. A lot of people really like my Kermit the Frog impression. A lot of people say, "Well, that sounds just exact. You should have filled in for him when he passed away." I've actually had people say that.
I remember that yellow one really had a thing for pigeons. Bert, remember him?
Oh yeah, Bert
sang a pigeon song one time.
Bert. I always liked Bert because he was kind of irritable like me. I related to Bert a little more than I did Ernie.
Okay.
Not quite as bad as Oscar, you know.
Oscar now.
Oscar was a grouch.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's there. All right. Enough of that. I don't have any way to follow it up.
We can do your Kermit impression.
You're not. Oh, I wonder if you're going to ask me. I wasn't going to do it unless somebody asked.
Well, I was going to say that sounds like a challenge.
It takes a while. I'd see if I can get into it. Miss Piggy, this is Kermit the Frog here. Come on. That's not bad.
That's not bad. That's
not
bad.
It's not good, but it's not bad.
Rubber ducky. Okay. Well, we've killed time. Is it time now for the news? You can tell it's a slow news day. Actually, it's not a slow news day. It's a very busy news day. 30 minutes past the hour. Time for the news now with Ken Weaver.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And here's another reason you shouldn't have hoarded all of that toilet paper. Elizabeth Schulze says the port strike has been suspended.
Sources familiar with these negotiations tell us that the union and the shipping industry group have reached a tentative agreement that will suspend this strike until January 15th. This agreement covers wages Both sides would then return to the negotiating table to resolve their outstanding issues in January.
Yeah, that's set for January 15th. And in Memphis, guilty. The verdict for the 3 black former Memphis police officers charged in the 2023 beating death of Tyree Nichols.
We're just so very proud that all of them are going to jail today. We cannot wait on the sentencing, so we'll know what their total time will be. But today was a very good day for our family.
That's Nichols' father, Rodney Wells. Sentencing set for January 22nd. Country music superstar Garth Brooks is named in a lawsuit by a woman who claims she was raped when she worked as a hairstylist and makeup artist for the singer. No comment from Brooks. And in money news, Michelle Franzen.
Stocks slipped on Wall Street with no easing of tensions across the Middle East. The Dow lost 185 points. The S&P fell 10. The Nasdaq dropped 7. Oil prices are still rising, especially after President Biden suggested that U.S. and Israeli officials were discussing a possible strike by Israel against Iranian oil facilities. A barrel of Brent crude jumped 5% to settle at almost $78. Investors are anxiously awaiting Friday's September jobs report. The weekly claims on Thursday ticked up slightly while planned layoffs dipped. Shares of Levi Strauss tumbled after the company reported a disappointing revenue forecast and said it was considering a sale of its Dockers brand. Retailers are ramping up hiring for the holiday season. Outplacement firm Challenger, Gray, and Christmas expects retailers to add 520,000 new jobs compared to 564,000 in 2023.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash. Fessler's Lane at I-40. Another one, 440 eastbound. They're still working that one between Nolensville Pike and I-24. Brand new crash now here in Brentwood. It is blocking the left lane of 65 northbound right after Old Hickory Boulevard. And then back to I-40 westbound near 4th Avenue. That's on the South Loop. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, listen, it's October now, spooky season. Don't be tricked. Let Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner, treat your family with a couple of great contests that you can enter during the month of October. You think you have a scary furnace? Tag Busy Bee with your scary furnace picture on any of the social media platforms for a chance to win a date night on them. Couple of Preds tickets, dinner for 2, winner announced November 1st. How about a Beehive membership? All you have to do is carve a pumpkin of Buzz the Bee, then post and tag Busy Bee on any social media platform. As a Beehive member, you'll receive 3 annual tune-ups, 1 cooling, 1 for cooling, 1 for heating, 1 for plumbing, a 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, a $100 annual accrued replacement credit, with a $1,000 max, and no overtime or holiday fees for as little as $99. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee at HVAC, your Rude Pro partner. Here's the number, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price At checkout, you don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It's 37 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. We have had an official response to my Kermit impression.
Yeah,
apparently.
On the Members Nutrition Super Text line, Kermit actually chimed in with...
Oh, really? Kermit the Frog did, huh?
With this little message for you.
I don't know if you should quit your day job there, Brian. Okay.
That's not bad, actually.
That was Brent down in Franklin.
Thank you, Brent, for that.
Got to say, Brent's Kermit was a little stronger than yours.
Oh, you really think so?
In my opinion. That's
okay, well,
opinion.
thank you. But you say I nailed Ernie. Okay, so that's good.
Pretty good on the rubber ducky.
Okay. A lot of news to cover here between now and the time we go home in a few minutes. We will go all the way till 7 o'clock, and then we'll do the news, and then the Mark Levin Show will take over right here on Super Talk 99.7. This is not an insignificant story. It's only about 3 paragraphs, but I think these kind of things are happening all over the country. An 18-year-old, according to WKRN, has been charged after 10,000 fentanyl pills were discovered and its belongings at the Greyhound bus station in downtown Nashville Wednesday. 10,000 pills. Metro Police reported detectives approached Ivan Corrales as he got off a bus from Texas at the station on Lafayette Street around 5:30 p.m. Corrales initially denied having illegal narcotics, but said, sure, go ahead and search his bags. Officers found a large bundle wrapped in duct tape with 10,000 pills that contained fentanyl, according to court documents. Corrales reportedly told officers he'd been given the pills in El Paso. He was booked into Metro. I don't know how they got there. I got him booked into Metro jail charged with felony drug possession, bond set at $75,000. That's good. I'm glad they got these people. You know, we have a lot of drugs coming into Nashville through the airport, and I guess now the bus station as well. This story, quite frankly, I knew there was going to be another shoe to drop in this. When Glenn Funk tried to say the other day that, well, there's been an investigation and it's proved me that I didn't do anything wrong. Well, I'm not sure that's the case. If you don't know the story, Glenn Funk, the district attorney in Nashville, had cameras around his DA's office and apparently microphones. And there was an investigation done by TBI and a bunch of other people to see whether or not that he had been improperly monitoring, perhaps like defense attorneys who were in the office or others around the office, illegally recording these conversations. And they said that indeed they thought that there were real problems. Now, ultimately, it came down to a decision by the Attorney General of Nashville, and Jonathan Skrmetti decided not to prosecute the district attorney. But that didn't mean he was clear. There's some real troubling issues that have been raised by this. Now, Glenn Funk, for his part, said, see there, I've been completely vindicated. I did nothing wrong. Well, that's not what the report said. The report said that they had real concerns about it and that, whether or not they decided to bring a case is one thing, but did you do anything wrong? That's another question entirely. And then there are real ethical questions, not just legal questions about, should a district attorney be recording defense attorneys inside his own office? Well, again, Glenn Funk was making the case that, hey, this is the end of this matter. There is not another shoe to drop, and I've been vindicated. Well, now the other shoe has dropped. Judge Cynthia Chappelle on Wednesday called off an upcoming trial of Calvin Atchison, who's accused of killing 30-year-old Velma Tharp in North Nashville in the summer of 2000. The trial is being postponed from its planned October 7th start date because the attorneys say they were in the district attorney's office. The defense attorneys say we were in the district attorney's office. We were in the room where defense attorneys review evidence in criminal cases, and we now believe we were recorded. And that they had an inside window into our defense strategy. The report troubling for Atchison's attorney, Ben Powers, who said he specifically had been audio recorded without his knowledge. According to Powers, he and a private investigator are seen in still images from a video recording included in the report. The caption states investigators found an audio recording of the defense team seen in the photograph. Powers asked the judge on Monday to disqualify the district attorney's office from prosecuting a murder case because of the quote-unquote unethical tactics prosecutors use to gather information. This is not the only case like this. This is not the only time this is going to happen. Every defense attorney worth his salt is going to raise whether or not the trial can go forward because of the potentially unethical tactics of the district attorney's office. The appearance of impropriety is so glaring, so organized, and so far-reaching that the only cure is for the DA's office to be disqualified from prosecuting Calvin Atchison's case so that his rights remain intact and so that the public's trust may be restored. Now, Chappelle, the judge, has chosen to delay the trial and said she will schedule a hearing on the notion to disqualify the DA's office. Now, Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti said he did not believe there were sufficient basis to prosecute Funk over the allegations in the report, but he reminded the county's top prosecutor in a letter that the closure of the investigation did not absolve the office of any ethical duties that might be implicated by the underlying concerns. Apparently, Glenn Funk showed up in court and was livid about this, saying that, this was inappropriate and wrong, and he's very upset with the judge for even considering this matter. Look, this what I fear here. I'll just lay it out. What you got to look out for here is: are there going to be instances where defense attorneys come in and say, this case needs to be thrown out? What about past convictions? Right? I mean, any defense attorney who's worth his salt is going to go back and say, well, we got a conviction in our murder case, but you know what? We think that they had an unfair advantage because they were recording our conversations. They're going to try it. This royal, I mean, how many people are going to walk? How many people are going to have to start the cases over? I mean, this case was from 2000, a murder case from 2000. Are just now getting to it, some 24 years later. At what point, if you're a defense attorney, you're going to raise it. That's just all there is to it. And this is not the end of it. It's a big mess. And Glenn Funk should have known better, quite frankly. It wasn't a good idea to record defense attorneys who came to your office without their knowledge. Just unbelievable. We've been watching the situation right now between Israel and Iran. How will Israel respond? In the meantime, we have 40,000 people who are in the region. We have many ships. We have carrier strike groups that are in the region, all kinds of naval assets. And now U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin sending more people to the Mideast as tensions increase in the region. According to military.com, a Pentagon spokesperson confirmed that Austin has ordered aircraft units preparing to leave the Middle East to remain in the region, while the units who were initially expected to replace them, comprised of a few thousand U.S. service members, will now join them. So they will have a bulge of aircraft and support people in the Middle East as a result of this decision. Some were leaving, and now they're saying, no, you hang on for a little while. And then we have some new people there, and we'll have more people in the region if we need them. The increase in U.S. forces in the Middle East comes as Israel has launched strikes and limited operations in Lebanon. And you know, the other day, of course, Iran fired some 200 ballistic missiles in the direction of Israel, and many people are wondering how Israel will respond. This afloat posture is complemented by DoD's elevated fighter and attack squadron presence, including F-22, F-15E, F-16, and the venerable A-10 Warthog aircraft. We will further reinforce our defensive air support capabilities in the coming days. Secretary Austin made it clear that should Iran, its partners, or proxies use the moment to target American personnel or interest in the region, the United States will take every necessary measure to defend our people. The real question, I think, that is yet to be answered is, will Israel use the attack against them the other day as a reason to go in and sort of clean up some stuff inside Iran? You could have an economic attack against the refineries on the coast. You could have an attack against their nuclear plants around the country where they are developing nuclear weapons. Then they have apparently. I don't think we believe they have a nuclear weapon, but they're getting closer and closer. And will they just use this as an opportunity to degrade those capabilities so that they cannot, to maybe delay once again Iran's ability to make a nuclear bomb? Hunter Biden. Question, he's been convicted in a gun trial and then made a plea deal on his tax trial at the last moment. And today, the New York Times was trying to figure out, well, how much time might Hunter Biden do? He's looking at a maximum of 17 years in federal prison. But the experts say probably if he gets any prison time at all, it'll be somewhere about, around 2 years, 24 months. So maybe 24 months, maybe a bit more. As for the gun case, his numerical sentencing score, somewhere around 12, which would be a sentence of a year. Could be lower, depending on what the judge believes about why he bought the gun. His sentencing could be closer to 0 to 6 months if he can prove he bought all the ammunition and firearms solely for lawful sporting purposes or collection. Yeah, because, Hunter was a well-known sportsman. But here's the thing. His sentencing will come in December. Now, Biden has said he won't pardon him. But on January 19th, on the last day in office, as he's headed out the door, he could commute the sentence, and he's not said he wouldn't do that. So I think Hunter Biden could get a couple of years, but by the time he shows up for prison, it will be amazing if he serves a month before Joe Biden commutes his sentence and says, get on out of there. No jail time. Essentially no jail time. I think the thing with Hunter Biden is, I think he really does need to do some time. I think, They're going to game the system. It's one thing to say you're not going to pardon somebody, but it's very much another thing to say you're not going to. He will not. He's been asked, will you commute? And they simply will not answer that question. 50 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock.